Well, a very good evening to you and welcome to the West Ham Weekly. Thank you all for joining me on a Monday evening. Much appreciated. Going to go through the usual stuff tonight. Going to talk about the game against Nottingham Forest, all the player update news, injury news and so on, and players out on loan. And a bit of an update on the women's team, as well as the under-21s and the under-18s. And then, of course, round off with all the transfer news that's happening or is meant to be happening at the moment. Excuse me. And I'm going to talk a little bit about David Moyes as well, because I know there's an awful lot of unrest about Moyes and about the game that was played against Nottingham Forest. And I won't sugarcoat it. I'll try and give it my view. I know a lot of people are going to have very different approaches and very different thoughts as to what's going on. But I'll do all that, and everyone will be involved in giving their views on chat as well. So I'll get you all involved too to hear your thoughts. I'm going to change the format of the show from tonight. So I'm going to do a bit of general news, the under-21s, the women's team, etc. And then I'm going to go on to the match, and then about the players, and then about transfers. It'll probably flow a little bit easier that way. So why don't we just say hello to who's in the chat first of all before we do anything else. So I'll scroll all the way to the top. Good evening to you, Alex. How are you? Always great to have a positive, mate. I hope you're well. Kehrer is mayor. Emerson and Vanaken are good enough for Fulham, Bournemouth and Forest standard, not top 6 standard. Sorry. I would agree with you on maybe one, but not the others. But I'll get to that later on when I do the transfer part. Sorry if this is mediocrity at its best. They can do the just go. Let's see, mate. Let's see. Good evening to you, Foxes. How are you? We definitely seem to have a problem getting the players we want. Well, we're going to see, aren't we? We're going to see. Alex again. Chelsea, 4th or 5th choice, left back at 30-year-old Belgian player. These are the signing. Let's talk about all that later. Let's try and get do a bit of positive. Let's hope so. Good evening to you, Patrick. How are you? Just for the record, I enjoyed yesterday's game. The same football on another day, we would have won 4-1. I agree, to be honest with you, Patrick. Thunder and Joy, good evening to you. When is the fan base ever happy? Even if we have Pep or Klopp, they will still have something to moan about. Very true, Thunder. Very true. Good evening to you, James. How are you? Good evening, all the usual rats jumping ship I see. Good evening to you, Rooney. How are you? Finally catching it. Brilliant. I'm glad. I hope you stayed, because I know I was meant to go on at 8 o'clock. So thank you for joining, mate. Good evening, Martin. How are you? Might as well watch the first 30 minutes of Liverpool Palace. Why is that, mate? Oh, yeah. Not for a minute did I think the weekly would be on at 8 o'clock. There you go. You know me better than I do. Vinay, good evening to you. Moyes out? I'm not so sure. I know. It's a bit clickbaity, I agree. But has Moyes lost his mind? Well, we're going to ask that question later on. Yesterday he said Benny had no end product. I know. Going to talk about that too. I suppose Antonio had own product. He can't score from outside the box or inside the box. Very good points, mate, and points I'm going to cover in the show. Good evening to you, Black Country. The circus comes to town. Good evening, Garinos. Just to be clear, this evening we are panicking, panic buying, or just plain good old-fashioned knicker wetting. Evening all, by the way. I don't know. Are we panic buying? Good evening to you, Epic. Moyes is starting to piss me off. Well, we're going to talk about that later on. Good evening, Mice. Moyes gone bonkers. Fab played well, but why let Areola, who's the future, rot on the bench? At his age, he needs to play. Fab should be out with the walking stick, taking the dog for a walk. It's a good point. I'm going to talk a little bit about David Moyes' seemingly favourite players and whether that attracts other players to come to West Ham or whether that puts them off. Because it's a really good point. Epic. Fab didn't play well. He made a couple of saves, but he conceded a savable goal, and his distribution is awful. I'm going to give Fabianski credit where credit's due. I thought he was okay. Epic. Moyes is really pissing us off. He's insane. Sorry, this is from Mice. Only a madman will treat Kral the way he did. He could have released him in January. Moyes is the manager of his dad's army and not West Ham. Vinay, Garino buying might help, not help. It might take 3 months for them to start because Moyes doesn't like new situations. Really interesting because it's a topic that I'm going to talk about. Patrick, managed for over 1,000 games and he doesn't know what he's doing, whereas someone here have championship manager on there win 95 machines and could win the league if given the chance. Good point. Who else have we got in the chat tonight? Good evening to you, Howard. 2 games into a season, we're already calling for Moyes' head. But me, after the last 2 seasons, this is madness. I'm inclined to agree, Howard. Black country. Here we go. Same old West Ham. After 59 years of supporting, nothing changes. Shitboard, no ambition, no vision, all spin. That's all they know. Full of bullshit. That's my rant over. Good evening, John. How are you, mate? Pyatt at 35? Not for me. Need to build for the future. Who's talking about bringing Pyatt in? I think he said he wanted a Pyatt type player, didn't he? But I'm going to talk about that as well because that means change, doesn't it? Good evening to you, Daniela. It's raining, yes. Outside, it will be from tomorrow. Any substance to the Pyatt rumor? Absolute tosh. Not enough for it to even get on my show tonight. There you go. Black country. Trouble with Moyes is no plan B. After saying that he's got no bench, 2 keepers, 3 kids, we know we've got no chance of game time. We know who have got no chance of game time. So the question is, where do we go from here? Well, let's discuss that later on. Good evening to you, Ryan. I have to say it's frightening how negative some people can get. We have lost 2 games. One came across as a fantastic one against a fantastic Man City team, and the other we should have won. We should have done. Had enough chances, didn't we? Who else have we got? Good evening to you, Learn to Dig. 1 win in 10 league games. That is true. There's no denying that. That's a fact. We haven't won a league game for quite some time. Good evening, Barney. How are you? Let us look at all us saddos waiting for British TV is so shit. It probably is, actually. John, would love to see Antonio and Scamacca play together. I would too, but I'd just love to see Scamacca start, which would be a nice. That would be a start in itself, wouldn't it? Learn to Dig. Question is, can Moyes take us further than 6? Probably not. But can any manager take us further than 6, given that we don't have top 4 money? And I kind of talked about that before, where it's all very well looking for top 4, Champions League, etc. You've got to have the finances behind that. And I know a lot of people will say, well, get rid of this board and we'll get that. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. It doesn't automatically mean that if this board sell up, we'll get other owners who are going to just splash the cash. So it's not a question of can Moyes take us further than 6? It's can any manager take us further than 6? Vinay, Garino, that's exactly what I'm sensing. I don't know what Garino said. Only because still hasn't been on. I wouldn't mind going on Strictly. I quite like that program. I would. I'm not kidding. I'm not famous enough. Someone try and get me on Strictly. I'd love to do it. I can also see Moyes destroying Areola's confidence. I'm going to talk all about that later on. Good evening to you, Darren. Thank you for your email, mate. Sorry I haven't replied. Good evening, Reese. How are you? Who else we got? WHU. I hope you're well, mate. Thank you for joining. Steve, how are you, mate? Evening still. Evening all. Here in Scamacca is one unhappy man. Said he wants to start games if Moyes doesn't do this now. I fear Scamacca may as well ask to leave. I'm not so sure that that's happened just yet. I don't know where you've got that from, mate. But I don't think whoever said that, I don't think it's true. I'm not saying it won't be if it continues this way, but I doubt very much it's true now. Good evening, Rhonda and Tony. FA fixed the draws. Arsenal opened new stadium and it's against West Ham. Same with Spurs stadium. Forest first game in 23 years. Normally we spoil the party. Just unlucky yesterday. We were actually. We were. I know a lot of people are going to disagree, but we had more than enough chances to win the game. Good evening, Neil. How are you? South Australia, 5 a.m. in the morning. You have dedication, mate. All these people moaning that they're missing some TV program and you're up at 5 in the morning watching. Fantastic. Good evening, Sarif. How are you, mate? Kalispera, how are you? I hope you're well. Good evening to you, Gary. People can yell at me or tell me off. I don't care. Calling for Moyes outright is completely ridiculous. I'm not saying that you're calling for that. I'm not. Let me just qualify that. I definitely am not. Martin, it has been a quick week. It has indeed. And it will be even quicker soon. Good evening, Neil. How are you? Especially when we sign a few players. Thursday, we got European football coming up. How quick is that? Devon, how are you? I hope you're well, mate. Thank you for joining. Steve, Bowen should have been off at half-time. Agreed. And Antonio, agreed. Scamacca and Cornet have come on in the first half. What was the point bringing Cornet on for 7 minutes? I agree. Cornet for 7 minutes. That's something I'm going to talk about a little bit later on as well. Moyes can't last minute.com if after sitting on his hands in January. Did he sit on his hands? He kept saying the interview that he did that was released last week while he was over in Scotland doing pre-season. You know, he was saying, I want to bring better in, etc., etc. Has he brought better in? Some people are saying no, he hasn't. But I'm saying it's far too early to even, say he hasn't, because the season's only just started. Adam, let's not all lose our heads. It's 2 games. I'm not happy, but after 2 good years, we need to give the team time and Moyes. Yeah, I agree in that respect as well. Robert, good evening to you. Palace have just scored against Liverpool. See how things are in the Premier League. You know, we haven't got a God-given right to be up in the top 6, etc. Hammerhead, good evening to you. Moyes is the problem. Is he, though? We'll talk about that later. Good evening to you, Dlavaki. How are you, mate? I hope you're well. Thank you for joining as well. I'll tell you what, let's get on with Budgie. Good evening to you, Clive. 1-0 up. There you go, Palace, 1-0 up. Bill, we need players' strength, not destroying their confidence. I agree with you there. Good evening to you, Jim. How are you? Thank you for joining. Right, why don't we sort of go into the first part of the show? So I'm going to do a bit of general news. And last week there was all this furore in the stadium about bar prices and how we would be, being overcharged and fleeced. What was it, £7.20 a pint and all this sort of stuff. And since last week's outcry, apparently the club have met with Delaware North, who run the catering at the club, and I think they got some agreement in place, or I read that they were going to threaten to sue them if they weren't going to comply with other Premier League, be on par with other Premier League stadiums. And I think my understanding is there was an agreement that something will be sorted out by Thursday, which is our next game at home against Viborg. So my understanding is agreements have been made. Don't quote me on that, because that's apparently what's been discussed. Now, I've got a solution, and I mentioned it last week as well. Don't drink there. Don't buy any food and don't buy any drink at the stadium. They'll soon reduce the prices if everyone boycotts them. But unfortunately, fans do go in. Fans want to drink. Fans will pay the £7 as it stands. And whilst you continue to do that, they'll continue to charge that. So let's see what happens. There may have been an update on that, but my understanding is that there will be changes made to bar prices at the stadium, and apparently that should be in place for the next home game against Viborg. And talking of Viborg, let's get. I mean, I've done this a couple of times already, but as we know, they are our first appointments in the Europa Conference League, starting on Thursday. We've got a 2-game playoff. We're at home on Thursday, and then we're away to them next Thursday. Excuse me. Kickoff is at 7:45. Now, I know there's train strikes, etc., so that's going to affect us quite badly, unfortunately. I've got a feeling there are going to be quite a few empty seats at the stadium, which is such a shame, because it would have been fantastic for Viborg to come and experience, West Ham in its full glory. But it could be that the train strikes are going to affect that, and so we might see an awful lot of empty seats. Viborg won their 2-leg playoff against B36 Tórshavn, the Faroe Islands team. They beat them 3-1 in the first leg and 2-0 or 2-1 in the second leg. Or was it? No, sorry, 3-0 in the first leg and 2-1 in the second leg. My mistake. In order to come and play us in this playoff. I expect to see a team where it's going to include. Now, it's going to be difficult because we don't have that many centre backs, but I think Areola will obviously be in goal. I think Ashby will give an opportunity at right back. I think Ogbonna will play because, as you know, Ogbonna's been playing for the under-21s, but he didn't play in the under-21 team at the weekend. So I've got a feeling Ogbonna will be playing, probably alongside Zuma, just to give Zuma a little bit more match fitness, because let's face it, he is not match fit at the moment. I reckon Downs will play alongside probably Declan. And up front, Bowen, Lanzini, Cornet with Skamaka up front is what I think. I don't know, though. Certainly all our new signings, apart from Agerd, who's still injured, I'm sure will all be given a run out. There might be 1 or 2 more, maybe not just Ashby, maybe Coventry will play as well in the centre of the park. You will see a couple of youngsters, You'll see all our 4 fit new signings and within a smattering of senior players as well. Creswell, Declan, maybe Bowen, maybe Lanzini, maybe. Look, Viborg are half decent team. Though it was explained to me that they are that they are equivalent to a Brentford kind of mid-table championship team. There you go. We're going to lose, aren't we? Founded in 1896, 9,500 seater capacity stadium. I've said this all before. Takes an hour and a half to fly from Stansted to Billund. Approximately an hour's drive to get from the airport to the stadium. Danish second division champions, Danish Cup winners once, Danish Super Cup winners once. Have played in the UEFA Cup in 2000, 2001. And they play. Their best players are Jacob Bond, Clint Leemans, J. Roy Grotz, who used to play for Leeds, and Niels Mortimer, who used to be on the books at Barcelona B team, which they signed in the summer. Their playing style is a 4-3-3. They have a big man up front, so with wingers to support. They're a quick counter-attacking team, and they recently beat champions FC Copenhagen in the league. They've played 5 games so far in the league, and they've won 3 and they've lost 2. I think they're still sitting 7th. I think they seem to be perpetually in 7th place in their league. Look, it's not going to be an easy game. It's not going to be a walkover. I think if we're going expecting us to roll them over, I think we might be a little bit surprised. But I think we'll win comfortably. I actually really do. I think we will beat them comfortably. What happens after then? It will be down to when these playoffs are played. Then there's the draw on the 26th of August to create the group stages. We will then know what teams were playing in the group stages. There'll be 32 teams in the group stages, and so we will know each group will be 4 teams for each group, and we'll have an idea on the 26th. If we get past Viborg, we'll have an idea on the 26th as to who we will be playing. Right, let's have a little bit of the chat, and then we'll go into the next part of the show. Hammerhead. If you don't think Moyes is the problem, watch another sport because I have some news for you. If you can't see is the issue, football's not for you. Look, you know, we've got to give. I'm gonna sit here and protect Moyes for how he picked the team. I think he picked the wrong team on Sunday, to be quite honest with you. But we can't turn around after 2 very, very good seasons where he's pulled us from. I mean, I'm jumping ahead of the show. Should be talking about this later. But we can't turn around after 2 very good seasons where we finished 6th and 7th after he came back and saved us from relegation for the 2nd time and then say he's shit. I kind of like, I'm a little bit no on that one. I get why people are upset and people are asking, can he take us any further? Let's get to that later. I can't believe people are saying Moyes out. Surely he deserves another couple of games. Rhonda and Tony, good morning to you. Sydney has finally had a run of sunny days. Looking forward to spring. Run of sunny. I think we've had your weather over here. So it's been unbelievable. Good evening to you, Mandy. I hope you're well. Neil again. Good to hear. Tony had a bit of sun here, but it's been cold. Jesus Christ, we've nicked all your sun. Ahmed, good evening to you. Question is, how many games has Moyes won in the last 20? I know someone just put up, I think it was Learn to Dig, has said 1 game in the last 10. So yes, understood. I'm not suggesting for a minute that we don't have a few problems that we need to sort out. But Moyes out? Really? I don't know about that. Good evening to you, Scott. I hope you're well. All overreacting, all the way from Canada. Free Skamaka. Reese, not being funny though, Forest were going to have a fight as it was their first home game in the Premier League for 23 years. Absolutely well said. And we got to remember that. They did put up a scrap. Vinay, it's not the 2 losses that's upsetting people. It's the fact that Moyes is favourites who can't be dropped and others who count for nothing. This tendency is getting worse. I will not deny that. Greeno, my earlier post, Pyatt heard crazy rumours that a certain Mr. Pyatt may be interested in one last go. Fuck that. That is so untrue. It's unbelievable. Anyway, sorry, Garino. Tyler, evening, handsome. Thank you very much. Always a good end to the day. Thank you. Much appreciated. I'll come on every night if you want. The missus won't like it, though. Kimbo, good evening to you, mate. I hope you're well. Very well. I hope you are, too. Good evening, Anthony. How are you, mate? Can't believe how fickle some of our supporters are. We're in the best shape of the last 2 years. Okay, we lost the first 2 games. Am I worried? Absolutely not. I still think we'll finish 6th or 7th. Great. That's the way I like it. Thank you. Thank you for that, Clive. Don't forget to, all that. Yeah, please, if you're new to the channel, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification to tell you when I'm next coming on. Black Country. Stel, no, it's not. No. Watch Strictly. Trust me, you'll enjoy it. I love it. Anyway, get me on Strictly. Use the one football video. I'd rather not. Black Country. So I don't understand the last 4 transfer windows. Only £7 million spend. Where's all the? Well, no, we've spent 100 million in this transfer window alone. We did buy players. I can't remember how much we spent last summer. No, we didn't buy any players in January, admittedly. But last summer we spent money. We spent 100 million this summer. And apparently we're not finished yet. And we've only sold the op for 15 million. So our net spend is just over 90 million. Believe it or not, it is true. Good evening to you, Andrew. How are you, mate? I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. Martin again. Still YouTube. It could happen. It won't fucking happen, mate. Mandy, Moyes hinted in his pre-match press conference that initially the players that came in 2 years back were to steer us away from relegation. Are we expecting too much after overachieving? Fantastic comment there, Mandy, because this is exactly it. We've gone from relegation fodder. No, only 2 seasons ago, we were complaining about, maybe getting relegated again. And now we're complaining because we finished 6th and 7th. So you're absolutely right. What are we expecting? I actually said to my mates at the weekend, if we win a cup this season and finish around 10th, 11th, good season, because we've won a trophy, and so what is the expectation, and where do you think Moyes is going to take us? Good evening to you, GP. Would be good on... Shut up. Daniela, we had 8 managers in our first 100 years, 8 in the next 30. Please calm down, everyone. Good point. Learn to dig. We played the name, not the team. Accommodating. Played the name, not the team. Jim, who do you mean? Forest? Forest were lucky. Let's be honest. Do you see the way the goal went in? WHU. Let's avoid that. Good evening to you, Dan. Do yourself a favor not having Twitter, mate. The meltdown yesterday was unreal. The people losing it over yesterday must have been a fan of all 5 minutes. Another day we win that. This is it. This is why I don't do Twitter. Sometimes Facebook is almost as bad as well, where people just seem to lose their rag. People need to be, everyone's entitled to their opinions, and I value everyone's opinions. That's the whole idea of the show. But I think we do have to put it in perspective. Some people are saying that Moyes is done for, he's finished. Other people are asking, can he take us further than 6? Where do we want to go as a club? Where are we expected to go as a club? Moyes has stabilized the ship. Do you remember what it used to be like? And I'm not saying we rest on our laurels, etc. But Moyes has taken us 6th, then 7th last season with a squad that was, barely had any players available on the bench, or certainly not ones that he wanted to use. Dabs, after that performance, you can see why Moyes prefers Fabianski. I don't mind Fab starting, but look, I won't deny he had a really good game. He did have a really good game. He pulled off some excellent saves. I don't think, though, that means that we shouldn't start Areola. But yeah, it shows that Fabianski can do it as a backup goalie in the Europa Conference. Hammerhead, Scamacca is a modern player, but our manager is old-fashioned. It won't work. I am a bit worried about that. I'm a bit worried, and I'm going to come to some comments that Moyes made earlier in the week about Scamacca and maybe not starting him. Dan, must be definite for a pint if you're happy to pay $7.50 a pint. I want a flake and a gold-plated glass for that. Absolutely. Good evening to you, Beanie. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. We're going to see any of you lot on Sunday. If the supporters club is open, of course. Good evening to you, Raymond. Nothing has changed, still stale. Who's at fault for that? Because people are saying it's Moyes. You're saying that it's stale, but who's at fault? Clive, anyone coming to Brighton game, please meet up at the statue after the game if you fancy doing a short video interview. Still, my God, promoting his channel. That's all right, mate. You go ahead. Let's scroll down. Lee, good evening to you. $7.50 for a fight. Some bastard has got to get the sack. Daylight. It is daylight robbery. Like I said, don't drink in there. Liverpool 1-0 down. Only drew last week. I wonder if some of the Liverpool fans are calling for Klopp to be sacked. Good point. Fat Gitchenko. People are questioning Moyes' sanity. That's a reasonable debate. Does he hear voices? Look, I'm not saying that Moyes does everything right, without a shadow of a doubt. And I think I was disappointed, and I'm gonna get to that in a minute. I was disappointed about his team selection, without So we'll talk about that. Dabs, is Rice suspended? Yes, he is. He's suspended for 2 games. Creswell's suspended for 1, and Moyes is suspended for 1. So you won't see any 3 of them at the game this. Well, they'll probably be there, but they can't play, and Moyes can't be on the sidelines. And then Declan will also miss the return leg against Viborg. Oh, that's the point. And I just talked about putting him in my bloody team. So clearly that's rubbish. Thank you for that. Thank you, Neil. I just realized as I was, yeah, good point. Thank you. Let's scroll down. Okay, I'll tell you what. Why don't we get into the next part of the show? And like I said, this is going to be all about, women's and academy, etc. And then we'll move to the next part after. So let's get on to the women's team, shall we? Because they're still doing pre-season, is my understanding, and not doing too badly either at all. Let me just get the slide up. I can't remember her first name, so I'm just going to say Hasegawa. I think it's Yui Hasegawa. For West Ham, has been smashing them in during pre-season, and at the weekend she struck another fine goal. She scored 5 goals already in pre-season. Let's hope she continues that when the women's season starts. But she scored a stunning free kick after curling a free kick in at the weekend, after scoring a couple of other stunning goals in pre-season. So they're setting themselves up nicely. They beat Charlton 2-1 at the weekend. And they'll soon be playing. They'll soon be starting their league within the next week or so. The under-21s, no longer the under-23s. The under-21s were in action again at the weekend, and they too lost 2 games in a row in their league. The starting lineup, quite a lot of familiar names and faces. People were talking about Clayton. How good he is at left back, pretty decent. No Longello, no Okoflex, 1 or 2 names missing. And we just wonder now, what's going to happen to 1 or 2 of these players, because there's talk about Longello and Okoflex maybe going out on loan. There's also talk about potentially them being sold this summer. It looks like changes are being made for the under-21s. Quite a lot of familiar faces, but the likes of Okoflex, the likes of Longello, we may even see them play on Thursday when it comes to the Europa Conference game. They weren't available, or they didn't play in the starting 11. There's no talk about them being injured or anything like that. But there are other familiar faces. Of course, we lost Ajibola Olise. I think that's a big loss for the under-21s. But he was 22, 23 years of age. He wasn't going to play for them much anymore. You're only allowed 1 player older in these games. And so either he was going to play for the senior team, or just like Okoflex, just like Longello, he's going to be phased out, because it's now an under-21s league. Look, they played Arsenal. They played Arsenal in their second game of the season, and unfortunately, they lost again. It was one of those games where we took the lead after 13 minutes from a great goal from Kamari Swire, but they drew level within minutes of us scoring. And just before half-time, they took the lead. And then they extended their lead on 55 minutes, going 3-1 up. We got a goal back with Odobeko scoring on the 58th minute, but we couldn't get the equaliser. That's two defeats in Premier League 2 games for them, unfortunately. The under-18s were in action as well, and they fared an awful lot better. They played Crystal Palace away at the weekend, and they had a much better time of it. They started up not having a great time of it, because they went 2 goals down. But a hat-trick from Callum Marshall got them straight back in it. Look, he's a fantastic player, and I don't want to sort of, you know what it's like. I've been doing it for the last couple of years. Every time I talk big about a particular young player, they end up either being sold or end up being crap or whatever. But Callum Marshall got us back in it, and we won. We won that game 3-2. That was the last pre-season friendly for the under-18s, and they too start their league campaign imminently. Right. That's it. See, I'm going to do that quite quickly from now on. I'm not going to sort of go on and on and on about the women's team and the under-18s. Still going to mention them, but try and keep it short and sweet. Right. Let's move on before I get into the chat onto the next part of the show. Right, so playing news. Well, of course, it would happen, wouldn't it? Nikola Vlasic goes on loan, and what happens? He starts his first game. Well, he came on at half time for Torino, and they won 2-1. He didn't get involved in. He wasn't involved in the goals, but you know, a win is a win, I guess. So well done to him on his new venture over in Italy. Arthur. Now, I'm not saying it's Arthur's fault, by the way. Don't get me wrong. But Besiktas, and I still can't pronounce it, were playing Alanyaspor at the weekend, and they were 3 goals up. And guess what? The game finished 3-3. Now, I'm not suggesting it had anything to do with Arthur, but I kind of remember a game when we were winning 3-1, and Arthur came on, and we drew 3-3 against Brighton. The only time we probably could have beaten them, and we gave it away. But there you go. There you go. But good luck, Arthur. Like that kit. Looks nice on you. Right, Joseph Anang, another player out on loan. Joseph Anang, if you remember me saying, was playing for St Patrick's Athletic in the Irish League until recently, and Derby County have come in for him, and they've signed him on a loan for the rest of the season. Now, apparently, there's a bit of furore about this because Anang was due to fly out to, I think. Well, it was meant to fly out with St. Patrick's for the Europa League conference game, I think in Bulgaria. And apparently he refused to go unless they released him to go and sign for Derby. I don't know if that's true or not, but apparently it's left a bit of a bad taste in the mouth. And Anang has signed for Derby. Look, all right, I'm sorry for St. Patrick's because Anang is a decent keeper. He's been very good for them. But Derby County in League Division 1 is going to... It's a massive test for him. I think it's going to be fantastic for the player to see how he fares if he starts in goal, etc. I don't know if he's going there as a backup or as a starter, but I think it's a fantastic chance for him to demonstrate how good he can be, and I wish him well. Sorry to St. Patrick's, but I wish Anang well. Right. Dawson, Craig Dawson. There's an awful lot of talk about what's going on with Dawson. I read earlier today that he could be in line to start on Thursday against Viborg. And then I read, I think the other day, that he might be in line to have surgery on the thigh injury that he was carrying last season, and it's affected him again this preseason. So I can't tell you exactly what's going on. It won't surprise me if he starts alongside Ogbonna on Thursday, and it won't surprise me if we don't sign him at all. Of course, as usual, David Moyes is keeping stum about his players and what's going on. But it seems that we probably will know much more on when the team is announced on Thursday evening as to whether Craig Dawson is due back or not. I don't know. I've got a feeling that the reason why we're really pushing for centre backs in the transfer window is because we've probably got bigger problems with our centre backs than many people think. So I'm guessing that we will not see Craig Dawson against Viborg on Thursday. And I'm guessing we will see Ogbonna against Viborg, only because, as I said earlier on, he's played for the under 21s a couple of games. He didn't play at the weekend when the under 21s played. So I've got a feeling that Ogbonna will be back and he'll be playing. And that will give us an indication as to what level he's at with his return to full match fitness. I don't want to rush him back. I'd be really, really worried about rushing Ogbonna back, especially against teams like Brighton. It could be quite tricky. I would much, much rather. It hasn't worked, our centre back situation at the moment, and I'm not blaming Johnson for that. I just think he's been thrown in the deep end, Ben Johnson. But it will be good to see Ogbonna back. Against slightly tougher opposition, Viborg, and let's see how he fares before whether we know he'll be back in time for the game at the weekend. I'm guessing again he won't be back in time for the game at the weekend, but maybe on the bench would be quite nice if nothing else. Right, let's go into the chat because the next thing I'm going to do is talk about the game. Well, in a bit more depth. That's right. Who do we have? Dabs. Hammerhead, seriously, we're only 2 games in and we've been really unlucky with injuries compared to most teams, and the window isn't closed yet. What did Hammerhead say? Don't argue with each other, people. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but don't have a go at each other. Okay. Stop spamming. I don't know what Hammerhead has said, but whatever you said, please respect each other. You're all welcome to your opinions, but do respect other people's opinions. Either way. Schizo, good evening to you. Howdy, Hammers. Are we really asking for Moyes out? I'm not. I was just being a bit clickbaity, mate. Learn to dig 2 years ago as a long time in football. 1 in 10 relegation form. I won't deny it. Learn to dig. 1 in 10 is relegation form. That I'm not gonna. As I said earlier, I'm not going to sugarcoat it at all. But 2 years ago was last season. Despite that, we had a very, very good start to give us the 7th place finish. And many will say it's because of the squad. It's because of the lack of depth in the squad. And I buy that too. John, I saw someone post earlier that Moyes, imagine that your own team's manager who brought us success over the last 2 seasons by our standards. That's a bit wrong, to be quite honest with you. Raymond, Moyes is okay, but too predictable. I would agree with that. Absolutely. Committee of small garden birds. Good evening to you. Whining little millennial gnat-sized memory Spursy cringe bots. There you go. That says it in a nutshell. Good evening to Daniela. Sacking Moyes is stupid. Please throwaway society is really pissing me off. Look, I know it is throwaway society. We want everything now, don't we? And we get upset when we don't have it now. Like I asked earlier, what's our ambition for this season? Charlie, good evening to you. I think Emerson should sign because Krez well, not that great, but Cornet left midfield. But I want Moyes to sign Emerson and the Paris centre back. Going to come to that, mate. Got some update news for you on that. Camaret, good evening. Thank God that's Reese and Clive are here. Otherwise, they would have been carrying the fort for you. I hope you're well. Dabs, Forest will shit themselves when they come to our ground and realise there's no corrupt ref and we're fully fit. You know what? With the greatest of respect to Nottingham Forest, they battled hard. There's absolutely no denying that. They battled hard. But they're gonna suffer a lot this season. I didn't see they played championship football, and some teams will easily. We didn't at some point on during the game. We weren't sort of coping with it with their championship style football. Other teams will suss them out, and they're going to struggle. The best of. Good evening to you. I'm a little bit worried about Bowen. He looked average. He looked very average. Very, very average. I'm going to talk about the game a bit more in a minute. Scroll down. Bill, good evening to you. I don't want Moyes out. I just need to see an alternative system when plan A is countered by opposition. And I'm going to talk about that too. Foe, good evening to you in a leotard in your dreams, mate. Good evening, Mr. Jones. David Moyes, the best manager we've had for a few years. It's nice not to be worried about relegation season after season after season. Absolutely agree. Dabs, Stell, did you see the Conte 2? I did. I found it hilarious. I really did. Because who was it? Was it Conte didn't want to eye contact when they were shaking hands, and Tuchel took offense to that, didn't he? Oh. That'll be interesting. We'll see how the season fares between those two who are going for top 4. Victor, what is the next leave for West Ham? What is the next leave for West Ham? Have we no history of finishing in the top 6 apart from 3 FA Cups? We have finished in the top 6 3 times. 3rd, 5th. Correct me if I'm wrong. 3rd, 5th when we had a European ban and didn't matter that we finished 5th, and then 2 seasons ago. Correct me if I'm wrong. Dan, the success of the last 2 years has given some fans some base and unrealistic expectations. I would be inclined to agree, but I would also say, no, I do agree with you, but I would also say we do a little bit of change is required. Fremer, All these angry people, not sure they know what it means to put anything into perspective. And this is the thing, that you've got to put things into perspective. And I hope I help you to do that. Or maybe you already have put it in perspective. So I might be confirming what you already think. It's not worth it. Good evening to you, mate. Thank you for joining. Fat Gitchenko. I think Moyes is as fruity as a lemon meringue pie. I think Moyes is as fruity as a lemon meringue pie. I don't know where you lot go with your comments at times. Funky T, hello, mate. How are you? Seems most fans have short memories and forget how bad it used to be. Looking forward to Thursday night. Absolutely. Hammerhead. I don't think our success has much to do with Moyes, more to do with our players being informed and overachieving. I think it's got everything to do with Moyes, to be honest with you, Hammerhead. I won't lie. I think he's managed to turn the ship round. Yeah, I really do. I know people don't like his style. I know people don't like the way he approaches things. There are times when he doesn't get it right. But tell me how many managers do, apart from, Klopp or managers like that, Black Country. I'm not asking for Moyes to go. I just wish he'd swap and change with new players involved. I agree with you there. Patrick, can I be the first to say good night? Good night, mate. Hope you're well. Sorry I was late. Maybe if I came on at 8 o'clock, you might have lasted a bit longer. My llamas are with child. Must go. It's not worth it. Why do we not look ready? Why do we not look ready? I don't know, because we haven't done. Why does Moyes say we're not ready? It's his responsibility to get the squad ready for the new season. I agree. And he has said that we're not ready. And I don't understand that, to be quite honest with you. And he has been a little bit more critical of the team of late than I've expected him to. It kind of started at the end of last season when he was quite critical after the Brighton game. He was really angry after the Brighton game, and it seems to have carried over. Is it because he's not getting what he wants in the transfer market? I don't know. We're going to talk about transfers in a minute, though. Barney, good job Twitter wasn't around in the 80s. Just imagine what the twits would have made of Paul Hilton and Gary Stroder. Hammerhead, committee of small guy. Yeah, mate, because clearly you got to calm down. You got to stop having a go at each other. I don't mind people having, putting their comments out, but there's no reason to have a go at each other. GP, I feel the same as you, Hammerhead, but other fans are right. Moyes deserves time. He's earned that. Darren, Hammerhead, he picks the wrong team, makes us such bad decisions that we have finished in European places 2 years in a row. See, people have different views and different opinions, which is why I like doing this show. Ryan, can't blame Moyes for team playing poor. They're not giving him credit for picking a team of players who took us to 6th and 7th. See, there are 2 points of view. The beer price are average to a gig-based venue. Yeah, and that's what I thought. Those prices went up during the summer when gigs were on, and I think they forgot to bring the prices down, or deliberately forgot to bring the prices down. Lernstick, the favourite policy has started falling apart now. Noble's left the dressing room. Ask Rice to accommodate 8 new recruits isn't ideal either. It's his job. He's captain. He's got to take that responsibility. Foe, playing young Ben Johnson as a makeshift centre-back has been a recipe for disaster. It's not his fault, firstly, but he's clearly been targeted. I agree with you on that. I feel sorry for him. I absolutely really do. I think you cannot blame him for some of our poor defending. I know it came off his foot and all that, but I'm going to get to that in a minute. Right, who else have we got? Let's scroll down. Fremer. A dinosaur who took a relegation-threatened club and put us in Europe 2 seasons in a row. I'll take that dinosaur. See, people have different points of view, and yeah, and that's good. Reese, wonder what Stel would have to say about me playing Football Manager, mate. Put it away, is what I say. Mandy, wish it would rain in Canary Wharf tomorrow. Apparently, Mandy, tomorrow. Apparently, it's going to piss down with rain. Wonderful. Jay Hammer, Moyes needs time to keep building the team and squad if we can finish top 10 and win the Conference Cup. This would be another great season. I'm with you on that. Learn to dig. Will Odebeko ever return out for the first 11 again? Probably not. He might be another player that might go back out on loan and might benefit from it as well. I like Odebeko, but then I like Okoflex. And when Okoflex played in pre-season, he didn't show up. Odebeko, I think I felt sorry for him a couple of seasons ago when Odebeko played for the first team. He was thrown in the deep end and he suffered for it. Let's scroll down. Howard, True HH, I don't think Oggy will be ready, so Johnson plays in centre, no one else, unless we buy someone. Well, not for Thursday. Peter X, good evening to you. Marshall is much better than Dorothy ever was and scores loads more. He's a prolific goal scorer. So's Mubama. Got him. Oh, Mubama, Thursday. Mubama might be another player that we might see a bit of on Thursday night. Bet he'll score. Dan, you scored a back healer in the pre-season friendly, so it must be brilliant. Dan, people are forgetting this is a team in transition. It takes Moyes time to weed out the crap from previous regimes and has well and truly over-retrieved while doing so. Patience is needed. Yeah, you're nicking part of my script, mate. Masuaku came on at 3. I don't know. No, apparently he played the whole 90 minutes, so I can't blame Masuaku. As much as I would love to. Let's scroll. I tell you what, one more comment. Brian, why are we not going for Hossam Ayoub at 2 million? He's a bargain and get one over on Forest. Wasn't he linked to us a couple of seasons ago, Ayoub? Might have been. Right, on that, let's go on to the game and do the review.
So here we are, Nottingham Forest away. First away day of the season, looking forward to it. Hopefully Cornet and Schumacher will be playing. But obviously it's the Jesse Lingard show. Not too sure how we'll react to him, hearing that there's going to be money thrown at him today. But we all know he'll score a hat-trick, we'll be left with egg on our face. Funny how Ericsson went back to Brentford v Man United yesterday and got made a fool of. Never happens to West Ham, does it? It's been a great journey up here today, as all of you know. There's Notts County and Nottingham Forest right next to each other, and right in the middle is a lovely little river which I'm assured we're going to get thrown into once we cause havoc. Here's to a mighty West Ham win, updates to follow. Come on you Irons. So right to the game, obviously very disappointed to know that Cornet and Schumacher are on the bench. What a surprise for West Ham, mate. That's what happens every time to us, but let's hope for a win. Come on you Irons. Time West Ham losing 1-0. Apparently Antonio pushed into someone, so they gave a disallowed goal for us, which is frustrating. I'll probably say different when I watch it back, but this referee looks shit to me. But who knows? On to the next one. Lingard's getting full on abuse, which is funny. Some funny songs. We've still got your watch. We've still got your watch. Forest was loud. It was a good atmosphere, to be fair. First time back in 30 years. Come on West Ham. Let's get Schumacher and Cornet on. Come on you Irons. Well, I think if we kept on playing for another 2 weeks, we weren't going to score. Someone built a wall at the London Stadium. I think the same person had just built a wall in that Forest goal. Never mind. West Ham lose. Jesse Lingard didn't score, and that's all that matters. Until next week, come on you Irons.
My thanks to Dodsey for doing the away day review. Much appreciated, mate. I did ask him to put headphones on. If you're watching, Dodsey, I'll buy you a set for Christmas. But really appreciated. You know, it's good to see someone there. I'm surprised I didn't bump into him. He must have been standing a few feet away from me. So really appreciated. So let's talk about the game in a bit more depth, shall we? Look, let's be really honest. Let's be really, really honest. On any other given day, we would have won that game, 3-1, 4-1, and fans would have walked away and would have gone, what's the problem? You know, but we didn't. We didn't win the game. You know, we as Dodsey said in his review, you know, we could have been targeting the goal all night and we wouldn't have scored. Hit the bar twice, got a goal line clearance. So we got a goal disallowed. That goal disallowed, let's be honest, what was wrong with that? Antonio was running, and it looked like the defender ran into him rather than Antonio just pushing him out of the way. So disallowed goal, and then their goal. I mean, it came off the player's knee or whatever. And people, like I said earlier on, people will say that was Johnson's fault. I don't think Johnson was right to go for the ball. Unfortunately, he didn't get enough purchase on it, and it just, it hit their striker on the knee and it went in. It was unfortunate, but you know what? The fact that we were creating chances is the thing that kind of gives me a little bit of confidence, a little bit of faith. If we weren't creating chances, if we weren't going at them, then I think I would have been a little bit more concerned. But the fact that we did create chances, the fact that we tried to put, the ball away, it just wasn't our day. And as Dodsey suggested as well, when we looked at the starting lineup, I won't lie, I was disappointed. I was as disappointed as many people. Yeah, I thought at the very, very least, I kind of didn't expect Scamacca to start, but at the very, very least, I would have expected Cornet to start. And I was surprised that Cornet didn't start. And you sort of go back to what Moyes was saying before the game. I don't know if it was the pre-match press conference the day or two before, but he talked about Scamacca and Cornet being ready and kind of alluded to, well, I'm not ready to play them, and then like, don't say that, Moyes, because you needed something. And if I look at that team, I don't know who, to be quite honest with you. I think you'll all have your choices as to who you might have wanted not to start so that Cornet could start. A lot of people would say that they didn't want Antonio to start for Scamacca, but when Moyes was talking about Scamacca and Cornet, they're ready, etc., etc. And then he talked about Scamacca, saying, I've been really impressed with him in training and so on and so forth. Really impressed. But then he went on to laud Antonio about what Antonio has done over the past couple of seasons and praising him to the hill. And you knew at that moment that he wasn't going to pick Scamacca for this game to start. You just knew it. And it was a shame because, yes, I think Moyes does need to change it up a little bit. And I agree with what a lot of people have been saying in the chat. He does have his favourites. I did a show earlier on last week where I listed all the players, etc., how many minutes each player got game time, etc. And there was a core of around 8 players that Moyes kept using over and over again. And if certain players hadn't got injured, he would have used even, another core. That's the way he does things. Is it right? No, I don't think it is. You buy players and he's talked about, having a stronger squad, etc. I don't think we'll necessarily have a bigger squad than last season, but we may have a stronger squad. But you need a stronger squad only if you're going to use those players. Now Moyes is kind of alluding to, oh well, maybe he'll start Scamacca. I've no doubt Cornet, Scamacca, Flynn Downs, etc., and Areola will all start on Thursday night. I've no doubt about that. But I want to see some of these players starting in the Premier League. And I think that's where the frustration lies. And I think that's why a lot of fans are really sort of like maybe digging Moyes out. I get it. I understand it. Because when I looked at the starting lineup, I looked at it and I've got to be honest with you. You look at that starting lineup and you think to yourself, it's actually not a bad starting lineup. Whether it be Fabianski or Areola in goal, doesn't matter. Zuma, Soufal, Johnson, Creswell at the back. I would have gone with the 3 at the back in order to just give it a bit more solidity. Instead of having Zuma and Johnson as the main centre backs and then Soufal and Creswell out wide, not because I thought that Forest would be any more dangerous, but I thought because Johnson just needed a little bit more help, because Zuma doesn't quite look match fit, I would have started Zuma with Johnson and Creswell either side as 3 centre backs, and that's when I would have used Cornet as a wing back on one side and Soufal as a wing back on the other side. But who am I? I'm no Premier League manager. But when you look at that team, you kind of look at it and go, they're not a bad team. But then Moyes has been talking about they're stale, not playing well, etc., etc. Then David Moyes, change it up. If you think that team is stale, then that was your opportunity on Sunday to actually change it up. At the very, very least, play Cornet. even if you're not going to start Scamacca or any other player. At the very least, he should have put Cornet in that starting lineup. For who? I don't know. Some will say Benrahma, but Benrahma was our best player on the pitch on Sunday. Some will say maybe Fornals. Some may even say Souček, etc. But he should have done that. If he wanted it to be not stale, he should have then made a change for this game. And I guess that's where people become quite disappointed with Moyes, because he goes with what he knows all the time. He also made another comment about Scamacca about, well, if Scamacca plays, I've got to change the way we play. Fuck me, no shit. All of a sudden, he's realizing that he's bought a striker, which means that he's going to have to change the style of play. And that's another thing. I couldn't quite get my head around it. He was almost like, well, I've got to play Antonio because I want to play a certain style of football. And if I put Scamacca on, I've got to change my style of football. And yet, in another comment he made last week or whenever it was made, he talked about, I need another Payet. I need a Payet in the team. Why? To change the way we play. Why? Because teams have sussed us out. Why? Because we can't do counter-attacking football because everyone has sort of worked that out. So we need to play a different way. And then I'm sitting there looking at that lineup and going, well, mate, with the greatest of respect, you're talking about changing the style of play. You're talking about, it not being, it's too stale, etc. And when you had the opportunity to actually make a change, you didn't. And then Cornet coming on at 7 minutes to go was like, oh, well, why? It's not as if he's new to the Premier League. He's had a season in the Premier League. He's scored 9 goals in a struggling team. Why did he not start? Or why did he not come on at the same time as Scamacca? He brought Lanzini on. I love Lanzini. I love Fornals, but it was like for like. What's the change there? He brought Scamacca on, great, but then Scamacca's a lone striker, and he didn't get any help. Maybe he thought Lanzini would offer him that help. I don't know. Get Cornet on earlier, and then maybe put Benrahma in the middle, and there's your foil for Scamacca. I don't know. I think that's the bit that I won't lie, because I said I wasn't going to sugarcoat it. I think that's the bit for me that is frustrating. That David Moyes sometimes, he's the master of his own, I don't know, destiny sometimes, where, he'll say one thing and then when he's got an opportunity to change it, he didn't change it. I'm hoping that the defeat against Nottingham Forest will be a change. I'm looking to see what changes he makes. Don't care about Viborg. Not that I don't care about the European Conference, but because we know he's going to make changes there. We know 100% he's going to make, virtually, if he can, he's going to change every player that started on Sunday. I want to see what he does next Sunday against Brighton. I want to see. I may not expect Scamacca to start, but I am expecting Cornet to start. I'm also expecting Benrahma to start, but I bet you Cornet will play in place of Benrahma. And that's another odd one, because Benrahma, without a shadow of a doubt, was our best player on the pitch on Sunday by far. Look, there was a lot of players who were under par. Souček, Declan, who else was under par? Zuma doesn't look 100% fit. Who else? Bowen, Jared Bowen didn't look to be fit. Fornals, who came off, didn't look good. Well, not fit Bowen, but he wasn't up to it. Fornals didn't look that great. Lanzini, when he came on, didn't look that great. But I bet you a pound to a penny, if he makes a change on Sunday for Brighton, it'll be Cornet for Benrahma. And he talked about Benrahma, about there being no end product, about, not that complete pass and not this and not that and not the other. And I was like, you can't do that for the player that was the best player on the pitch for us, and then not criticize Antonio for doing next to nothing, during the game, and not criticize other players as well. And I don't understand this, and maybe that's the thing that's bugging some fans. And I get it, but we've got to be balanced here. Like I said, the balance is we've got to remember, where we were and where we came from and what this team has done for us and what Moyes has done for us. Sometimes I would argue he's won the right to get a few things wrong every now and again. But I want to see him now correct things. This is where things now start to be corrected. And I really hope he does that. I know we're going to have a changed team on Thursday, but I want to see a different team on Sunday. I want to see a team. If you played, for example, Benrahma, Bowen and Cornet in the middle, and then put Scamacca up front, which he won't. Let's go for Antonio. If you play Bowen, Benrahma, and Cornet behind Antonio, you've got much more support there for the striker, and then Antonio can soften them up and then bring Scamacca on later. Even that, I don't mind. And I'm really hoping that Moyes, does something a little bit different because, I think he's putting himself under pressure. I think in talking a lot of things about, I want to change the style of the way we play. I want to change this. We look a little bit stale, etc., etc. Well, fine. Then change it. You've got the players now, or you are getting the players, then change it. There's no reason why Cornet should have come on with 7 minutes to go. That's typical old-fashioned Moyes. And I get that's why a lot of people in the chat have been losing their rag over it, because they see that and they get angry. I think Moyes will change it. I think he must be advised by Warburton and his other staff on the sidelines, and he must make a change. I'm expecting that change to happen from Sunday. I won't lie to you, and I will, call it out if need be. If he puts the same team out next weekend with no new players that he signed and we get beaten, then I'll call him out. I absolutely would, because we do need a bit of difference, and let's hope it happens, because Moyes, by all accounts, is a very, very good manager. He knows what's best for West Ham. And I know people are going to go 1 in 20 or how many we've won in the last 10, etc. I get that. And again, I'm not sugarcoating it. I know it's not been good. But Moyes is an experienced manager, and he does do things his way. And it is only 2 games in. But I'm expecting the 3rd game for him to make a difference, to do something different on the pitch. And when that team is announced for the game against Brighton, I'm fully expecting at the very, very, very least Cornet to start. Will Areola start? Probably not. Will Downs start? No. Will Scamacca start? I think he should, but so long as he's got the support. And will Cornet start? Absolutely, I think he will. And who for? Unfortunately, probably Benrahma. I don't want to call out any player, but maybe for me, if he needs to change it, then I would probably wouldn't start Fornals. As much as I think Fornals is a fantastic footballer, like I said earlier, I'd put Bowen, Benrahma, and Cornet as the support for whichever striker he goes for. I hope he does do that, because I just think he'll be letting the team down. He cannot turn around and say the team looks stale if he's not gonna be prepared to make an important change. So let's see what happens on Sunday. And like I said, if he does the same thing, puts the same team out, and then starts complaining that it's stale, it's on his head. He's got to make that change, and he's got to demonstrate that he's capable of making the tough decisions when they need to be made. And if it means, certain players having their noses put out of joint because they're normally, going to be first 11 choice, then that's their problem to deal with, and it's his problem to tell them that they have to put up with it. It's a squad effort now, So if the likes of Antonio, even Bowen, even Declan, even other players, if they have to be dropped for a game for the better of the team, then so be it. I don't want to just see change in the Europa Conference games. I want to see change in the Premier League as well. I want to see Scamacca start. I want to see Cornet start. Some people are shouting out for Downs to start in place of Souček. They're probably right. And that worries me with regards to players. People have been talking about, well, does that mean, can we attract other players? When I sort of look at some of the players that have gone, Diop gone because he knew he was never going to get an opportunity to play, no matter how many injuries we had. Masuaku probably realised the same thing and gone. And even Sonny Perkins, how many of us slated him when the youngster left? But if he's seeing that he's not going to get game time, is it wrong for him to want to get game time elsewhere? Probably not. And then when it comes to players who have turned us down, Anana as a prime example, he actually said in his interview when he signed for Everton, I want to play football, and I didn't get a guarantee of first team football. And Keane Lewis Potter apparently said the same thing. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I said I backed the manager for turning round to players and saying, I can't guarantee you first team football. And I stand by that. But it's the way you sell it. If you're going to tell these players, look, you may have to start on the bench for a few games, but you will be rotated, just like other teams do. You will be rotated. you know, you will start. You might start 1 in 4, or you might start 1 in 5, or if you do that and you play well, you stay in the team, etc. But maybe some of these players that we've been targeting have gone, well, why am I going to bench warm? And then other people have said in the chat earlier on, what about Skamaka? You know, how long will he put up with it until he turns around and says, this ain't for me? I'll give him until Christmas. I'll give him until the World Cup break, and maybe 1 or 2 others as well, who will probably start questioning if they're seeing players who aren't performing, but yet are being picked over them. Then they will start questioning Moyes' tactics and approach. So can we attract players? Yes, I think we can. I think we've got a couple of players coming in this week. Mind you, I said that last week, and I know my mates take the piss out of me for having said that. Yes, I think we can attract them. People are talking about whether they're now 4th, 5th, 6th choice. You know, it doesn't matter what choice they are. If they're on the list, they're on the list. Of course, you go for your top choices like the Kostic and players like that. And if you can't get them, you move on to the next player. You'll have a list. You'll have a list to say, you know, for defenders, this is who I want. For attackers, this is who I want, etc. And then you go through that list and then, you know, hope to sign the players that you want. Okay, I've ranted. So let's see what you guys have to say. How far back am I on the chat? About half an hour. So I'm going to scroll down to, let's start with you, Hammerhead. Give any manager the group of players we have had the previous 2 seasons. I guarantee you there'd be little to no difference. Well, probably. But you've got to merit Moyes for getting that team together. Quite a lot of them. Vino. Fans who are Moyes out are like Carl Reese from Terminator 1, not taken seriously. There are some legit issues with team selections and favourites. Just covered that. So, yeah, thank you. Clive, Stel and all of us mods respectfully request that you shut your... Tough shit. GP, I'm arguing with everyone, Stel, is sex... GP, thanks for that image. Scarborough, very unlucky not to get something yesterday, but we'll go again and improve with the strengthening the squad. Reese, the thing that pisses me off with Moyes is that he's got his favourites and doesn't do subs early. Yeah. Hammerette, ever the optimistic. Now the anger has subsided. We will find form and start smashing teams. I'm with you on that. Absolutely. Foe, I'm starting to miss those psychotic eyes Stuart Pearce possessed on our touchline and in our stands. Adam, I still think Zuma could be a bad signing. Seems slow and is injured all the time. Need quicker defenders, and we seem to buy other teams' third choice players. It's not good. It depends on which teams. If you're buying PSG's third choice players, that's all right, because they've got about 50 centre backs anyway. So I wouldn't say that's too bad. Garino, Emerson, Vanaken, Skywalker, and PSG centre back. I'm going to talk about them late in a minute, actually, when I've got through your comments. Hammerhead, happy, not pissed, just calling out bullshit. If you can't see, Moyes has created massive issues. He hasn't created massive issues. He's created issues which I think can be overcome. Let's scroll down. Where do we go? Let's scroll down to... good evening, Michael. How are you? Forwards and upwards, absolutely. And I think it will become better. Darren, give it okay. I did say, guys, I don't know, maybe I said it after you posted it, but do respect each other. Have your opinions, but don't have a go at each other. Neil, Rice should never have taken penalties again. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, that was a shit penalty. And no, he shouldn't have done. I get it. As a leader, he wanted to take them. Wrong decision. I hope Creswell smashes them in from now on. Who would you have as your penalty taker? I think Creswell. Rice should never take penalties again. And if it's a penalty shootout, who should be last on the list? I won't deny. Good evening to you, NWO. I hope you're well. Good evening to you, Brian. I hope you're well. Fat Gitchenko. Declan to take the penalties. Who was the genius decided that? So Rice is more qualified than Bowen, Lanzini, Benny, Creswell. Even Benny. Lanzini. He was taking penalties last season. I think Declan wanted to show his leadership, and it doesn't. Don't do it, mate. Daniel, good evening to you. Really not sure about Emerson. Why didn't we buy Hickey? Good question. I don't know, Daniel, but Moyes probably didn't fancy him. He didn't think he was the right choice for us. Emerson, going to come to him in a minute. NWO, Moyes cost us Champions League 2 seasons in a row. The fact that we're even close to Champions League, though, NWO, you know, I mean, before that, we were talking about, are we going to survive the Premier League? I respect your point. Adam, remember, everyone has a different opinion. That's all it is. That's football. Andrew, I'm that old. I remember when we were happy to avoid relegation. That's exactly what just went through my head. Victor, can we talk about Moyes' team on Sunday? If Rice scores from the spot, we don't lose. Simple. Yeah, absolutely right, Victor. If Rice had scored, we would have gone on to win that. If the goal hadn't been disallowed, we would have gone on to win that. I think Forest would have crumbled. I genuinely do. It was just an unlucky day. And it's not that we played badly. We created our chances as well. Robert, some of our players came back late because they were on international duty. I know so were other teams, but we need ours more. That's possibly a good point. Other teams have got more strength in depth. So, yeah, that's a really good point. Funky. Man United and Liverpool have 9 Champions League trophies between them, and both have not won a league yet this season, and we think we have problems. You see what happened to Man U at the weekend? I'm not trying to compare. Well, I am comparing. Fuck me, they were shit. Elbow. We need Noble to be a David Brent-like motivational coach. Lying on the table like that. I've done that one. Brian, if the ref went by the law, McBenna should have been off. Absolutely. It was a deliberate handball. Why didn't he get sent? All this thing about the goalie behind him or something? What a pile of poo. That was a sending off. When he took out the yellow card, it's like, what? Yellow card. It's a deliberate handball in the penalty box. That was weird. That was weird. Good evening to you, Ironclad. How are you? Been a while. Thank you for coming back, mate. I hope you're well, and thank you for nice to see you. Dabs. Hammerhead, however, we just finished 6th and 7th relegation. Are you not happy with the level we're at? Barney, Odebeko and Oko Flex will never be Premier League players. Let's see. But you're probably right. Hammerhead. That's Hammerhead. Sorry, Hammerette. We have punched above our weight, in my opinion, for the past 2 seasons. Now is our time to show you have the quality to do it again. I'm confident that that's a really good point. We have punched above our weight. Maybe there's a false sense of expectation. I asked earlier on, what would a good season be for you this season? For me, if we win a good season for me is finishing 7th or above. Okay, a good season for me will be winning a cup and mid-table. Okay, a bad season, us being in the lower end of the league, avoiding relegation, not being in any cup competitions, etc. That would be a bad season. So for me, if we finish 7th or above, I think that would be good, especially with teams that have strengthened around us. Aston Villa, Newcastle, have they strengthened? I'm not so sure. Aston Villa, etc. Are all aiming for top 6, top 7. And if we win a cup and finish mid-table, I take that too. Good evening, Kent. How are you, mates? I will play the kids on Thursday. If possible, we need 4 or 6 players in to make us competitive as was last season. I will play a few youngsters, not a lot though. The team that we're going to play are probably no mugs, and they're probably going to be hard to beat as well. Steve, still can't put the youngsters in on Thursday. We need to get through this tie, so want another Astra Gugu situation. I agree. I think play a few, maybe 3, maybe even extend it to 4 at most, but probably not much more than that. Nunes red card. So are they still losing 1-0? Oh dear. How the mighty crumble. Hammerhead. The perspective is that we missed a huge opportunity to establish ourselves as a top 6 team. I don't think we have. I think we have for the last 2 seasons established ourselves. We just missed out on 6th place last season by a shit end of season performance, by allowing Man United to beat us twice. A really poor Man United to beat us twice. There were certain games that we should have won at a canter. Howard, what's the score actually? Is it still 1-0? Are they still winning 1-0? NWO. When Benny is our best player, we're in trouble. Well, not necessarily, mate. I've always said I think Benny is a good player, and I think he demonstrated that. The only trouble with Ben Rama is consistency. He's not consistent. He's not, he'll play like last season. He played a number of really good games. Let me take that off. I forgot he was even there. He played a number of really good games, and then he went off the boil. But then I argue quite a few players went off the boil last season, throughout the season. Daniela, I must be honest, I was playing cricket on Sunday, only catch the penalty, but nice suntan. Good for you. But it was hot up in Nottingham. Fuck me, it was. Brian, Ayer is valued at 2 million, roughly 8 million pounds, at 2 million euros, roughly 8 million pounds. If he's valued at 2 million euros, how's that work out? Am I missing something, Brian? Sorry, mate. Let's scroll down. Steve WHU. We need to smash the Danes on Thursday to get some much needed confidence back. Yeah, agreed. Good evening, Crosshammer. How are you? Hello, my name is Moyes and I will not sub until that annoys me. I won't lie. It grates on me and it grates on a lot of fans. It's like, why wait so long? We've got 5 subs now. So if things aren't going right, bring 3 subs on 60 minutes or whatever. Why did he wait? It's not as if Cornet's new to the Premier League. That annoyed me. That annoyed me. James, I'm not saying Moyes is right all the time. If some of our white flag merchants had their way, they'd be free entry to all home games unless they actually charge at Hackney Downs these days. Dabs. Hammerhead, Moyes has said multiple times he wants quality over quantity. It's not his fault if clubs won't give us Gallagher or Broja or even Nunes and Rafinha and Phillips. That is true. We've got to go for them. Many people are saying we wasted time. We wasted time on Lingard, without a shadow of a doubt. Did we waste time on Kostic? I think we thought we had a chance on getting Kostic. Probably took a lot longer. Maybe we should have walked away sooner. Fremer. As much as I like to walk all over Viborg, it's a bit dangerous to only put kids in there. If we don't put the game to bed in London, they'll be on us in Denmark. Good point. Finai. I'm not Moyes out, but it needs to change. I sense that asteroid is coming, the one that wiped out the dinosaurs. Brian, trust me, fellow Hammers, at 12 million euros. Oh, 12 million euros. Ayer is worth it. He was definitely linked to us a few years ago, mate. Definitely. And I think you might be. I'm gonna have to look into him because the name definitely rings a bell. Aaron, finally caught a live show again. Welcome back, Aaron. I hope you're well, mate, and thank you for joining. Fremer, Klopp out. There you go. You're going to have all the Liverpool fans are going to want him out. Dan, the defender actually changes direction to get in Antonio's way. Yeah, I thought so, Dan. I think it was really unfortunate that was disallowed. That if that had gone in, we would have won. If the penalty had gone in, we would have won. If one of the balls that hit the bar had gone in, we would have won. I really do. If we'd have got a goal in, I think it would have changed. Aaron again. I'll behave people saying Moyes out. Stupid. He gave us our best 2 seasons. We're only 2 games in. Yep. Good evening to you, Scott. How are you, mate? One thing that really getting at me is that many people have been saying that Fabs was a difference maker. Actually, if you rewatch, he didn't actually complete any positive distribution. His distribution leaves a lot to be desired. But I won't lie to you, mate. In the first half, when he was at the away where we were. He pulled off some fantastic saves, stuff that you would have thought that's going in. So, I've got to give him credit where credit's due. I do want Areola to be our number 1, but I've got to give him credit where credit's due. Scott again. As a matter of fact, Fabs gave the ball to the other team multiple times from 7 minutes on. Areola's not starting. It's baffling me. He moves the ball so much better. He does. Yeah, I agree. Brian, tell Chelsea to to give us Gallagher and armbands. Gallagher and armbands. Oh, Armando Broja on permanent deals. Otherwise, they won't get to speak to Declan about a move. Let's be honest. He will hopefully not. He will go. Hopefully not soon. Well, got a bit of news for you. Well, maybe a bit of news. Good evening, Bradley. I hope you're well, mate. Did you recover from last Sunday, mate? You were in a bit of a state. I'll see you Thursday if you're there, or I'll see you Sunday if not. Gary, I wasn't that mad about team selection. That's almost a team that got us European football. That's more or less who he trusts right now. He's bought players. He needs to play other players. And I think everybody's saying the same thing. Klopp to West Ham next week. Black country. Would he be good enough for us? Daniela, I think Antonio needs some time on the bench. The goals have dried up since getting past the Canio record. They have dried up. He would be one player. I'm sorry. Like it or not, he'd be a player I'd bench. I agree. I actually do agree. Gary, at the end of the day, Moyes is the Premier League manager, not us. He's forgotten more about football than any of us ever knew. I know. He is a quality, he can be a great manager. He's a bit of a stubborn bastard, though, isn't he? Adam, Moyes needs to start on new players and rest Antonio, who's been in poor form since he started playing for Jamaica, and then he'll improve his touch, and all moaning and diving into the grounds is annoying. Yeah, Antonio needs a rest. Garino, got Tog strong on win comfortably so we can rest players second leg. Yeah, I kind of got that. I've got the second bit anyway. Foe. I didn't really have a problem with the selection. The only issue was that most of it is not all our key players. All our key players are out of form. Rice, Bowen, Antonio all look below par. I would argue that Antonio's looked below par for a long time. Rice and Bowen was a surprise. Oh, Barry, what have I... Excuse me 1 second. Right, sorry about that. Let's see, have I got it? I do. The laptop was unplugged for some reason, and you almost lost me completely. Antonio's looked below par for quite a long time. Rice and Bone was a surprise. They normally bring it on, don't they? They normally get the rest of the team going, and they certainly didn't do so this time. Hammer it. I think Cornet's fit and ready. Had pre-season with Burnley, so let's use him. Yeah, which is again why I kind of was surprised that he didn't start or wasn't brought on earlier. Scarborough. People seem to forget that Spurs had a large majority of their new signs in their 11. The same with Brighton too. That's how some managers do things, isn't it? Glenn. Thursday, Smackaveni and Antonio up top. Cornet, Benny, Bowen down, sitting. We need to attack and get a good win. Not a bad team. Let's scroll down. Hammerette. Let's be honest, starting lineup was a bit disheartening, but we played far better than last week, which we did. We played far better than we did against Man City. Every week now we will improve, finally beat Brighton. Let's beat our bogey team. David, Nunes sent off. Are they still losing 1-0? Klopp out. Foe. I really hope Skamaka isn't about to get Hallard. Yeah, that's a good point. By the way, Haller was shortlisted in the top 30 nominees for the Ballon d'Or, just saying. That's a concern. A few of my mates were saying he looked a little bit like Haller did in terms of being isolated on the pitch on Sunday. And I hope they don't start getting on the young guys back, because it won't be his fault if he's not getting the support. Darren. You have more chance of growing wings out of your butthole and flying to the moon than us beating Brighton. Hang on a minute, I'm sitting on something. We'll beat Brighton on Sunday. Wait and see. We will beat Brighton on Sunday. Oh, 1-1, is it? Oh, well, never mind. Let's scroll down. Learn to dig. You can see why GSB didn't offer me a contract last time around, but they have done this time. Let's wait and see. They have done this time. And he's got, I don't know what, I can't remember, 5-year contract or something like that. Let's see. Fat Gitchenko. Moyes slagged off Benny. He said no end product. Well, Moyes, you have no end product. He bottled the January window, and does your favourite Antonio have an end product? He needs to drop out. Of all the players that he's got, I will not deny, I think Antonio's got to be one of them that might need to sit it out for a while. Fornals maybe. Lanzini maybe also as well. Again, nothing against any of these players. They've been great servants to West Ham United. But if Moyes says that it's stale, start changing things, mate. I know he doesn't have a lot of choice in defence at the moment. He uses who he's got. But in midfield and up front, he's got options. The whole team should be sat down and watch Ray Stewart and Julian Dix taking penalties and told that's how you take pens, not this side foot rubbish. Smash it right through. Hey, absolutely agree. Hammer it. I'd love to see both strikers on the pitch at the same time. That would be mental. Antonio's growing. I have said, I think we might see it throughout the season. We might see Antonio go slightly out left and or even right, and Skamaka up top. That would be interesting. Keith 79, good evening to you. Before, Moyes was fighting relegation every season. Just because we have lost our first 2 games don't mean we won't qualify for Europe. Grow up, Moyes haters, and be careful what you wish for. I agree. I think we've got to put it in perspective. You're absolutely right, Keith. It's only a couple of games, and I know people are saying, and they legitimately are, that we, 20 games now, that it's not been great, so I get it. But we are in transition. This is another thing. West Ham United are in transition at the moment. Not only has Moyes had to move on what people call deadwood in players like Masuaku, like other players, etc. He's also having to contend with players that he doesn't think fit the approach that he wants. So all these players that have gone, I know we've got 5, 6, 7, 8 players gone or something like that so far. Other fans have been saying for quite a long time, We need to get rid of the deadwood. We need to get rid of the deadwood and bring in better players. And now that Moyes is starting to do it, this is where I'm going to defend him now. Now that Moyes is starting to do it, we can't then turn around and say, why have we got rid of this player? Why have we got rid of that player? Let's be really honest. Crowley could have kept. He was never going to play. Diop, I like Diop, and I'm surprised that we let Diop go, especially with the situation now. But Moyes was never going to play Diop. Masuaku is at his time, and finally we have a West Ham manager who finally realised that Masuaku is not Premier League ready. Vlasic, okay, he was a Moyes choice, but Vlasic didn't show it, so Moyes has moved him on as well. Moyes has moved players on where the only one that he probably would have kept would have been Noble. Noble retired, but Moyes has moved players on that a lot of us would have said, why is he here? Why is he still playing for West Ham? Why is he still in the West Ham shirt, etc.? Moyes is doing that now, and he's slowly getting players in who I believe are going to be better than what we've had. But that's a team in transition. And that's the other thing, asking the question again, what's your expectation of West Ham at the end of the season? With a team in transition, things take time. It's not always going to work. The only thing I think Moyes gets wrong is his team selection. He now has 5 players. All right, one of them is injured. So the other 4 players are as good as, if not better than, some of the players that we have in the first 11, without a doubt. Scamacca. People are saying, Scamacca or Antonio, let Scamacca play and let's see how good he can really be. Let's not use him from the bench for the next 6 months. It will fucking piss him off. It'll piss the West Ham fans off as well. Cornet, he's replaced Masuaku. Can't say that he's not better than Masuaku. He proved that in his one season in the league. He scored 9 goals last season. All right, people are going to argue that Cornet played up front, but Cornet's a left wing back as well. And he's more or less replaced like for like with Masuaku, who had no end product. So Moyes is bringing in players that are going to be better than the players that he already had. That's a team in transition. It is going to take time. It's going to take time to bet them in, get them playing the way he wants to play, etc. Dan, he's getting his 3rd year rich, mate. Happens to loads of managers where they think they need to make wholesale changes and abandon the basics. Well, he's got to make changes. Hopefully what I just said makes sense. Some of them have been forced on him. Some of them we've been calling out for a long, long time. Darren. Keith saying, exactly, mate. We have prepubescent fans on here, nickerwetting and calling for Moyes to be sacked. Laugh my arse off. John, far behind, still half an hour behind. The back end of last season tailed off because the players subconsciously concentrating on Europe. That's possible. Scarborough. We've got to remember Moyes is assembling his squad and getting rid of the crap this window. There you go. People are saying what I've just said. Let's scroll down. Let's scroll right down. I'll tell you what. Why don't we stop there? We'll do one more comment. And then we're going to the last part of the show. Dan, if it was up to me, I'd have 4 now. Central midfield, Rice instead of Souček. Then Cornet left wing, Benrahma, Bowen, and then one of Antonio Scamacca. Rice instead of Souček alongside 4 nows. Why not Downs? We bought Downs to play that sort of role. Why not Downs? Okay, let's do this one as well. Thursday, Areola, Ashby, Zuma, Ogbonna, Creswell. Yeah. Downs, Coventry, Lanzini. Forgot about Coventry. Chester's. Forgot about Chester's. Cornet, Scamacca. Yeah, not bad. Okay, let's go into the last part of the show, which, of course, is your favourite, which is all about transfers. So, last part of the show, and there's lots to talk about in transfers, as there always are. I'm not going to give you a total update because I know a couple of players have been added to the list today. I've got their names, but I haven't done any research on them. But I promise you I'll do that, and I'll do a show tomorrow about them anyway. But let's start off with this one. with Memphis Depay and the shitstorm that this has created over the past few days, where apparently David Sullivan is meddling again in the transfer window. Look, let's try and put this in perspective, shall we? Memphis Depay at Barcelona. Barcelona need to get rid of players. There's absolutely no doubt in that. Memphis Depay being offered to West Ham United. I'm not doubting that either. I'm not even disputing that either. Has Sully approached David Moyes and told him that we should maybe buy Memphis Depay? I think Sullivan has approached David Moyes and said, I've been offered Memphis Depay. Are you interested? But Memphis Depay is being offered to all and sundry. Arsenal, various other European clubs. Barcelona have to get rid of players in order to sign up their new players, in order to register their new players. Because at the moment they've got real trouble. They can't register any of their players until they release a number of players. I've got absolutely no doubt with David Sullivan's position that, and he's got agents in his ears all the time. I have absolutely no doubt that an agent has come to him and gone, Mr. Sullivan, we got Memphis Depay. Are you interested? And Mr. Sullivan will probably go, yeah, sounds all right, but I need to ask the manager. He'll then go to the manager and say, David, Memphis Depay, any interest? If David Moyes had said, yes, absolutely, I think we would have been looking at signing the player. If David Moyes, as we understand it, has said, I don't know anything about it, or no, I'm not interested, we didn't bid for him, etc., then I think that's the end of it. This story that's been created to only create a shitstorm amongst fans, that apparently there's an argument between David Sullivan and David Moyes about signing Memphis Depay, I don't really believe is true. I have no doubt that the story is true about us being offered the player. I have no doubt that probably Sullivan has approached David Moyes about it. I'm not disputing that. But think of it logically for a minute. Think of it logically. We eventually turned and said round to Lingard and said, no, we're not breaking our wage structure for you, unfortunately. We have to walk away. We turned round and said apparently the same thing about Onana, whether that's true or not. Are we really now going to break our wage structure on a player that's on about 158 to £200,000 a week and go, well, fuck what we just said, we'll go and sign him? No, I don't think so. This is why I've got no doubt that the story about us being offered Depay is true. I'm not disputing that. What I think is disputable is that David Moyes and David Sullivan are having a disagreement over it because one wants the player and the other one doesn't. If we have turned down Lingard, and if we turn around and said to Onana, we're not meeting your wage demands, and then turning around in the next breath and signing Memphis Depay at 28 years of age for 200 grand a week, then something's not right. You know, and that's why I don't believe the story. That's why I don't believe there's any more to this story than just Sullivan having a conversation with Moyes, Moyes going, no thanks, and that's the end of it. You know? Right. If it turns out that we sign him, I'll eat my hat. I don't own one, but I'll eat it anyway. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. I'm not disputing that the story about the link to Depay is not true. I'm sure it is. I'm not disputing that Sullivan's been offered the player. I'm sure that is. But what I am disputing is that there's a disagreement between Sullivan and Moyes as to whether we should buy the player purely because of what I said about wages. We've turned around to Lingard and said, we're not meeting your wage demands. We've said that to Onana as well, whether that one's true or not. Certainly is true about Lingard. And then in the next breath, we're going to go and get Depay for 200 grand a week. No, I don't buy it. And I think it's just been made into a drama to wind the fan base up, to be honest with you. I don't think there's any more in this than just a player being offered, who's being offered to all teams around Europe because Barcelona need to get rid of the player. And we've gone, no. And that's the end of it. Right. Next one. Kehrer. Apparently, from what we believe today, negotiations are at an advanced stage. Last week, they weren't any further forward, but now they're at an advanced stage. Apparently, our bid now is £12 million plus very heavy add-ons to bring it to around about £16 million. And the plan is to get this over the line for the Brighton game. Look, we want top six footballers. Someone said, oh, we don't want fifth choice players from other teams, etc. I'll take him, Kehrer. He's a decent footballer. German international, 20 German international caps. You don't get that if you're crap. Will he be better? Look, he plays at right back, he plays at centre back, he can also play central midfield, defensive midfield. What's not to like? 25 years of age. He's valued at 17 million. We're close to it with 12 plus add-ons. And my understanding is that we're very close to getting this player. And I hope we do, because we do need, people have talked about Zuma. People have talked about how Zuma is not fit. You know, we don't know what's going to happen to Dawson, whether he needs an operation or not. Oggy, you know, he's on his way back, but what sort of player are we going to get when he finally returns to the first team? And of course, Agard out, probably won't see him this side of the calendar year. So why not Thilo Kehrer? He's a very good footballer. If it, you know, PSG don't buy, I know they can buy anyone, but they don't just buy anyone for the sake of it. They buy players because they think they're good. So I think, oh no, did he come through the youth ranks? He might have come through the youth ranks. So I think this one is probably our next signing. And I hope it happens sooner rather than later. Eric Bailly, apparently he's the backup. If we don't get Kehrer, which I think we will, apparently we've made inquiries about Eric Bailly. We want him on loan, but Man United want to sell. He's got 2 years left on his contract, 28 years of age. The one thing with Bailly, excuse me, the one thing with Bailly, of course, is his injury record. You know, it's going to be one of those players. I think we've got more than enough our fair share of injured centre-backs. That's the only thing that would concern me. Premier League experience, it would be a decent purchase if he stayed fit. But the concern, of course, is that he may not. And then Emerson Palmieri that was linked to us today. Well, not today. Palmieri was linked to us about 2 years ago, and then even last summer. But then he went off to Lyon on loan. I'd bite their hand off for this player, to be quite honest with you. I won't lie. Apparently, the £13 million bid has been confirmed. That's the breaking. You probably heard it elsewhere. But, you know, for those of you who watch this channel, it was confirmed today that that bid has been made. Now, I don't know if the bid's been accepted, but the bid has certainly been made. Look, there's enough competition for places. You know, Chilwell, they've just signed Mark Cucurella from Brighton. You know, they've got left backs coming out of their ears. Palmieri is not going to be Tuchel's number one choice or even number two choice. Would I take him? Yes, I would. I don't think he's a bad footballer at all. He's an Italian international. You know, he's a current Italian international, not as if he played for Italy years and years ago. He's a current international, 28 years of age. All right, maybe slightly on the wrong side of the age bracket that we would want. But for £13 million with Premier League experience, Champions League experience and all the other stuff, yeah, I'll take him without a shadow of a doubt. And apparently the bid is in. The bid has been put in and it's been confirmed that that bid has been made. Whether it's been accepted or not, I don't know. And I'm sure we'll find more about that either tonight or, well, that's Monday night or Tuesday as we go on. If we took Thilo Kehrer and Palmieri and we got them now, let's be honest, that's not bad. That improves our squad immensely. You know, and then David Moyes can spend the last part of this transfer window focusing on players that he wants to bring in attacking midfield, which my understanding is that's the next area. Once he's sorted out our defence, he's then looking at midfield. And I hope we get him. I hope we get both Kehrer and Palmieri. I think they'll both be really good for us. Right. A couple of players that I picked up on today. Odilon Kusunu and Wilfred Gnonto. Apparently, we're interested in FC Zurich attacking player Wilfred Gnonto and Bayer Leverkusen centre-back Odilon Kusunu, who's meant to have lightning speed, haven't they all? Now, I only found out about them about an hour ago, so I don't have a lot of detail on them, but I'm sure you've read about them. But I'll do a show on Tuesday to bring you up to date on those two. Right, next one up, Hans Vanaken. This is an odd one, isn't it? Why? Because we've been linked to Hans Vanaken for nearly 3 seasons, on and off for nearly 3 seasons, 2.5 maybe. Look, no denying, Vanaken plays for Club Brugge, got contract till 2025, valued at around 15 million, 29 years of age. I'm not so sure this link is actually true, to be honest with you. Prolific goal-scoring midfielder, without a shadow of a doubt. He's made 342 appearances for his club. He's scored 101 goals. Not bad for a central midfielder, without a doubt. He's a Belgian international as well with 21 appearances and 5 goals. This one's come out of the blue for me. It was another one that was linked to us today. But like I said, we've been linked to this player on and off for the past 2.5 seasons or so. I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure he'd be a target that we're really going for. What I really do think we're going for, probably a lot more realistic. Not that we will get him, but a target that I think we prefer is Tune Koopmeiners from Atalanta. Apparently, we made a bid for the player. Of round about 20 odd million pounds, defensive midfielder who can also play central defender. He's got good leadership, and I didn't correct my spelling, good leadership and commanding presence, great goal scoring statistics. He's a decent player, 24 years of age, the right age. You know, if you're going to spend, 20 million pounds or something, spend it on a player that's in their mid 20s rather than spending 15 million pounds. With the greatest of respect to Hans Vanaken, but spending 15 million on a 29-year-old when you can maybe, put another 5-10 million in and go for a player like Koopmeiners, I think is a much more sensible approach. He's developed through Dutch club youth ranks through the AZ Alkmaar from the age of 12. He made his debut for them at the age of 19. Like most players, like I say, he can play defensive midfield or he can play a central defenser. He can either play defensive midfield or central defense role. And, that wouldn't be bad either. Having a versatile player, especially when we have problems in central defense, if we need him in midfield, we can have him there. If we need him in central defense, we can play him there as well. He's a decent player. 196 career appearances, 47 goals, 21 assists so far. He's going for a fee he's valued at around 25 million, but apparently he'll be available for 15. How does that work out? I don't know. He's also played for the Netherlands 9 times and made his debut back in 2020. Another decent footballer that perhaps we should be pushing for. Other players, Matheus Nunes, apparently, as Moyes has said himself, ironically, that we've gone for. We made a bid for him, but apparently the player himself doesn't want to come to West Ham. But apparently we've sent scouts out again to have a look at him, and there's a consensus that we're going to try and get him to change his mind. Good luck with that. Apparently he wants to go to places like Liverpool, etc. Apparently Liverpool are sniffing around for him. Right, Ben Brereton Diaz. We thought this had all gone a little bit dry, a little bit flat, but apparently we are still keeping a tab on Brereton Diaz. Now, when it comes to talking about players that might be 3rd, 4th, 5th choice, he might be one of them, unfortunately. There seems to be an awful lot of other players ahead of him in the pecking order that West Ham seem to be interested in. He's all right. I think I'm not 100% sure whether he'll be an improvement for us. He certainly had a great season last season where he scored a hatful of goals. Do I think we should go for him? I don't know. I think there'll come a point where if we do get desperate, and I hate saying it like that way, but that's maybe when we might go in for Diaz. Conor Gallagher. We haven't given up hope on Conor Gallagher. Apparently, we still want to sign him. We still want to sign him on loan. Apparently, the player wants to make his mark at Chelsea now that he's had a taste of first-team football. He was on the bench again at the weekend, so he's not first choice, is he? Loftus-Cheek, ironically, started in the lineup for Chelsea. They've got a lot of competition in midfield. How much game time will Gallagher get? I don't know. I'm not so sure. But apparently, Gallagher wants to stay at Chelsea, and apparently we haven't given up hope of trying to sign him on loan. Now, I know a lot of you are going to go, good God, no way, no thank you, please move on. But Ross Barkley, apparently, in his last season at Chelsea, has got on his contract, valued at around £10 million, 28 years of age. I said it during the week, for Moyes, this might be the next Lingard for him, but unfortunately, it's his injury record that lets him down more than anything else. Do I think we should go for him? As a last resort, maybe, yeah. He's certainly on his day, he could be really, really good, but I think he's kind of had a number of chances. Aston Villa, when he went out and loaned there, he started off well, then he got an injury, then he fell away. And I think that's the danger with Ross Barkley. If he got picked up an injury, that could be it for him. And Attila Szalai, he's the last player on the list tonight. Now, this has been an odd one. We made a bid, we haven't made a bid, and no offer made. And apparently some reporter in Turkey said we definitely have made a bid and he's on his way. And then he had to retract and go, oh, no, we haven't made a bid and he's not on his way. And apparently now we've pulled out of any deal. So it looks like Zalai might be behind the pecking order for Emerson Palmieri. And it looks like we've sort of given up the chase on this. Palmieri or Zalai? Palmieri for me, because he's got Premier League experience. He's an international as well, Italian international. Zalai, yeah, Hungarian international, but he's only done it in in Turkey and lower league teams around Europe. I like him. I think he'd be an interesting player to have, but is he for the now or is he for the future? Whereas Palmieri would be for the now. Right, that's it. Let's get into your chat before we bid you farewell for tonight. Crosshammer, we need some positive stuff. Was that positive enough? I don't know. You tell me. Daniela, learn to dig. Noble, great player, but no way ready for the job of League Two manager, let alone Premier League manager. Yeah, I don't know what you said, learn to dig, but yeah, I would agree with that. Dabs, we could do an Arsenal last season where we start poorly, then pick up form and do really well. Exactly. 2 games in. 2 games in. Let's not worry too much. Let's scroll down. Dan, Benny should be the one for penalties. 7 from 7 in his career. Good shout, Keith. Hammerhead, I will hold you to that come Christmas when we'll be in the top 6 or 8. I don't know what Hammerhead said. It's already gone past. Forgive me for that. Dabs, our game plan every game: get the ball, whack it up to the pitch to Antonio, then he'll fall over and repeat. Which is why maybe he should be rested. Garino, Ben Ramos, Gamaka, Souček, Creswell, Dawson, Cornet, Lanzini, Moyes should all be in front of Declan on penalties. Moyes. Let's scroll down. Tyler, look at Liverpool, all their way but can't score. There you can see, happens to the best of us. Schizo. If you're nervous taking penalties, I prefer it. You smash it rather than place it. I agree. Good evening to you, Margie. I think it's a new name. So if it is, welcome to the channel. Let's wait till the 1st of September, then moan about David Moyes. Yeah, good point. Good point. Let's scroll down. Garino, Liverpool Man United relegation battle live on Sky next month. Did it finish 1-1? Scarborough. I swear some of these comments have only watched West Ham for 3 years. We were dreadful for years before that. I know we are. I know. I've been there. You've been there. Most of us have. We've seen it, done it, etc., etc. Brian, we were cheated by the ref with a goal. He made some silly decisions. Was he? The goal that was disallowed shouldn't have been disallowed. I have to admit. Learn to dig. Been watching West Ham 50 years this year. Go. We're all veterans here. Scott. And yet on skills videos and according to his teammates in training, Rice can thread a needle with the ball. Or he can pass it back to the opposition goalkeeper. Vinay. Also, you can't sack Moyes before the transfer window shuts. It would create a bad impression with signings. It would be awful. Ain't going to happen. Glenn. Definitely a sending off. Henderson used to train with De Gea, so a definite goal. De Gea, definite goal. You're talking about their sending off. Too right, it was a sending off. John, the overachievement in the last 2 seasons has blinkered the reality of a lot of fans, I'm sorry to say, and I'd be inclined to agree with you. Do forgive me. I'm not going to read every single comment. I wish I could, and I'll try and do my best. And I'm still half an hour behind on the chat. Ironclad, if we want to attract the next level of player, we need to get a European place at least. We're struggling to get the players we want even now. I think we'll be all right. I do have faith. I think we will get the players we need, to be honest with you. It'll be a push, and it may be a couple of loan signings at the end. Gallagher might be a loan signing. Brozier, apparently we're still interested in him, might be a loan signing right at the death. Fremer, I knew beating Liverpool, Chelsea would bring us problems in people expecting us to be a Champions League team. We're not. Let's scroll down. David, did Benny have a good penalty record for Brentford? Did he get a pat on the back from the boss in yesterday's game? I hope so. Well, someone has just said 7 in 7 for Benny, and no, he didn't get a pat on the back, I'm afraid. He kind of got rather the opposite of that, to be honest with you. Let's scroll down. Who should we go for? Scarborough. Antonio gets punished for his size in knocking a defender over with such force. It wasn't his goal. It wasn't his fault, sorry. Learn to dig. Our goalie has to pull off fantastic saves at Forest. He did. I admit it. Even though I still want Areola to be our number 1 keeper, Fabianski did extremely well. Fox says, I'd play Masuaku on Thursday if I could. only just to wind me up, bastard. Clive, on behalf of the West Ham Voice, we thank you for your comments, your questions, and your interaction. Please remember to subscribe. Look at that. New moderators. What more do you want? Nude. Fuck me. Nude. I keep saying to these people, if you want to. They've already been deleted. Thank you for that. Let's scroll down. Jesus. Oh, they've gone. They've gone. Ten Hag out. Fuck me. I bet he was shell shocked. at the weekend. You see the look on his face. Epic. Matthias Nunes apparently has just signed for. Fuck. Has he? Tell me that is not true. See, I thought he wanted a Champions League team. Has he really signed for Wolves? Dear, oh dear. Phone. Sorry, everyone. I need to put my details out there, especially after Budgie put his mobile early. You did do that live, didn't you, Clive? Silly man. Schizo. Moyes may have forgotten more than I know, but at least I still remember what I've learned. Here we go. We're getting all philosophical now. Daniela. I think Chelsea have fallen out of love with Rice. Not sure he will go there. It'll be Liverpool needed to be concerned about. It won't be Liverpool. It'll either be Chelsea, Man City, or Real Madrid. Is one of those three teams, I think. I can't see anyone else going for him, to be honest with you. Even Liverpool. I don't think he'd even go to Liverpool, to be honest. Black Country. Bowen filling too many holes. That's. Good evening, Sean McCarthy. Just seen Nunes playing absolutely shit, then get sent off in Moyes we trust. There you go. There you go. Silver lining. Silver lining. Scott, I actually thought we played decently against Man City. One bounce and could have been drawn. Without Haaland, we would have beaten them. I think we were all right. We got, gave them too much respect. I actually think we played all right-ish against Forest, to be honest with you. Scott, a win against Brighton will help the fan base. It'll help everyone, to be quite honest with you. GP, is it just me or is Stell's background shaking? It is, because it's not a green screen. It's a proper portrait, life size West Ham. I'm at the Boleyn, actually, to be honest with you. Hammerette, just got to say, Haaland in the fresh is ridiculously fast. 2 strides and halfway across the pitch. That's because he's got 10-foot long legs. I thought you'd love him for his legs. Mind you, he's not a West Ham player. He's not Lanzini, is he, Hammerette? Hey, John again. Antonio needs to go back out on the left wing. Benny in the middle. Bone on the right. Skamaka up front. The only problem with Antonio going out wide is he'll do his hamstrings. He will, and he'll be out for like half a season or something. Let's scroll down. Darren. Haaland looked like a cyborg that's been sent back in time to fight. Fremer. Think Haaland could kill someone just by staring at them. Good evening, Ballon. How are you? We have won 8 of our last 25 league matches. It's not good. I haven't sugarcoated it all program. Black Country. I still the set goal under the desk knows. It's funny. See, once I've finished with all the script or all the images, etc., and the script, you lot just go into one. We are replacing Deadwood with MDF. Scott, does the 18-year-old Kelly who's been scoring at will go on the bench on Thursday? It's not Patrick Kelly who's been scoring. It's Callum Marshall. Callum Marshall's been scoring for fun. I think Mbama's going to be on the bench on Thursday. Robert, so what if we get relegated? I will still support my team. So would I. Imagine doing this show with only 10 people watching because we're playing in the Championship. By the way, if any of you are new to the channel, please do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell notification to let you know when I'm next on. There'll be other shows. There's the West Ham Weekly every Monday night live. And as you can see, interaction with all the viewers. And now there'll be other pre-recorded shows throughout the week. And every now and again, we do a Friday late, where we'll have a special guest on talking about West Ham. No scripts, so no images, no scripts, etc. So look out for that. And I'll be doing a preview of the Viborg game or Viborg game with a Viborg fan on. You can't miss that. I'm not going to tell you when it's going to be because I don't know when it will be just yet. Probably would be Wednesday. Look out for that. I've got a Viborg fan coming on, or Viborg fan. I think he's a West Ham fan and a Viborg fan. So look out for that. Ironclad. I don't moan about Moyes shipping players out. It's just that he doesn't replace them beforehand. he didn't do until he let Diop and bloody Vlasic go, and then it's like, oh shit. Black Country, keep still on his toes. JTD, good evening to you. I'm very well, mate. Moyes was wrong with the lineup and took too long with the subs again. Agreed. Do you think he will finally start Cornet and Scamacca against Brighton? Cornet, I'm pretty damn sure he will. Scamacca, I really hope he does, but it won't surprise me if he doesn't, to be honest. Watch along on Thursday. I'm going to be at the game. You know, and if I don't go to Denmark, I might do a watch along if I don't go to Denmark. But I'm kind of really tempted to go. Oh, by the way, I forgot to say, tickets are on sale. If you're a season ticket holder or bond holder, etc., tickets are on sale from Thursday for the away leg for Viborg. 30 quid. GP, how long do we realistically give Moyes as fans? I feel up to Christmas. I think we give him the whole season, regardless of what happens. You know, if we finish 10th, 11th or whatever, like I said earlier on, if we finish around mid-table and win a cup, great season. If we finish in the top 6, top 7, great season. If we finish just off relegation, shit season. Would we let him go? I think not. I think we still keep him on, to be honest. Ballon, let's be honest, we've been punching above our level for 2 now. We have. And we've got to be realistic about that. Adam, all our dreams fade and die, but Moyes is changing that. Our dreams will come true. Just keep dreaming. Like that one. I like that one. Let's scroll down. What did Garino say that you're agreeing to? Let's scroll back up. I can't find. Oh, hang on. Here we go. Garino. It said we have never seen both of Stell's hands. That wasn't bloody worth scrolling back up for, was it? Let's scroll down. Rhonda and Tony. Rhonda and Tony. Oh, groovy gang, Raymond. Thank you, Raymond. Yeah, it's a nice crowd here. Right, Rhonda and Tony. Moyes is trying to buy Champions League players. Sadly, these players don't want to come to West Ham yet, but it will happen. Have faith. It will take time. It will take time. There you go. Ross Barkley can fuck right off. He's absolute cash. Oh, Scott, do you really believe we'll sign someone before Friday? Yes, I do. At this point, I can see 2 loan signings on the last day by Sullivan, who Moyes will then not play. No, I really do think we'll sign. I think we might even get 2 in. And as my friends will know, because they took the piss out of me all the way to Newcastle, all the way to Nottingham and back again, when I kept saying last week we'll sign 2, and we never did. Reese, can't wait for Stel to find out about Hans Vanaken, not Vanken. I know all about him. I talked about him about 2 years ago. That I really don't think we're going to get him. Victor, I've got a feeling Lanzini will play next to Souček and not Downs on Thursday. Downs will start. I'm pretty damn sure Downs will start. Klopp out. Did they lose or was it just 1-1? Did they end up losing? I hope they lost. Did they lose or was it 1-1? Chris, Benrahma was the best player on the pitch against Forest, needs to be coached properly and put him in his central attacking role. I agree, Chris. Yeah, I don't know if you watched this, the early part of the show, but I said just that he was without a doubt the best player on the pitch for us. Moyes needs to prepare and adapt. That asteroid is coming, the one that wiped out the dinosaurs. Antoniosaurus became extinct. Also Lanzinus and Crasosaurus. Fucking hell, mate. I want to smoke what you're smoking. GP, if Stel was doing that, it would have to bend down. Looks like a big guy. I'm not big. I'm only 5'8". I'm even giving you credit for that. NWO. Depay, clickbait. Mate, Ashley, absolutely, mate. You know, all that stuff about Moyes and Sullivan falling out. Nah. Depay just sounds like a good player. He's a good player. But good evening, Ian. How are you? I agree with what you said about David Moyes. I've said a lot. I've actually slated him and praised him at the same time. I hope I haven't confused everyone. Mandy, thank you for that, Ian. Much appreciated, mate. Mandy, more chance of signing Elvis from Memphis. Oh, funny how started. Chris, for God's sake, not by. He has a horrendous. He does have a horrendous. I did say I agree. He does. He does have a horrendous injury record. He's hardly played. I think he played 4 times last season. Astrophos, good evening to you. Diganis, hola gala. Those who say Moyes out need to think when was the last time we got to play in Europe back to back. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. How far down am I? 10:03. Fucking hell. I'm still half an hour. But how can I possibly still be half an hour behind the chat? Scarborough. The Depay outrage is another agenda against the board. Now, I'm not GSB in, but they are putting money down and we're strengthening. Bang on. This is, like I said, like I really made, went to great strides to say, it's not that I don't believe the story about him being linked to us, not suggesting that that's not true. But this whole thing about Moyes and Sullivan falling out over it, no, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Foe. Anana's unproven. Lingard has been rotting on Menure's bench for the last year. Depay is a Holland and Barcelona starter. Barcelona need to let him go. They don't want him. Garino, fucking hell. That really pisses me off. Nunes going to Wolves for the same amount we offered. Wow. That really is a shock. But anyway, Scott. Kehrer would be a very good signing, would really help the squad and can also play fullback. Yes, he absolutely can. And he can also play holding midfield as well. JTD, is he good at right back? If so, swap him for Soufal and put Johnson on the left. Better than centre. That's another good thing, actually. Kind of, in a way, by signing Kehrer, might solve our left back situation. Because if Kehrer can play at right back, when we have all our centre backs back, you can either play him at right back or you can play him at centre back. And if you play him at right back, then you've got Johnson to play or cover at left back. And ironically, Johnson, being a right-footed footballer, has done an awful lot better at left back than most other positions that he's played in. Signing Depay could be a cynical way to get Moyes to walk. I don't approve that approach, mind you. I don't approve of it, but I just don't think it's true. Dan, for his versatility alone, Kehrer will be a superb addition. Absolutely agree. Let's scroll down. Good evening, Eamon. How are you? If Bayer could stay fit, Man United wouldn't want to be selling him. Good point. Very good point. Palmieri would give Scott Cresswell some competition. He absolutely would. If we get them for a combined 25 million plus add-ons, that would be some solid business. I guess you're talking about Kehrer and Palmieri. I agree. It would be very, very, very good business indeed. Now I'm making up names. I really ain't. You know me. I always look for stories and the names that I had a cut earlier on. Let me try and find them again. Have I got them here? Where are they? I was going to talk about him. I didn't bother. I was going to talk about Jacob Kiwior from Spezia, but I didn't bother. I was going to talk about Ishmael Jacobs. Didn't bother with him either. I was going to talk about Duj Kaleta again because apparently Marseille want to let him go for 8 million, but I didn't bother with him. What were the two names that I came up with? Trust me. Odilon Kusunu and Wilfred Ngotto. Didn't make them up. NWO, we're linked to everyone, to be fair. We absolutely are. Dan, Vanaken is essentially Sojek with mobility and technique. Wouldn't be the worst signing. It wouldn't be. But, the reason why I'm being really dismissive of it is because, forget that I'm not falling for that. It's because we've been linked to him for so long. Stel Vanaken link came originally from an ITK post on Knees Up Mother Brown. Has got everything spot on so far, including Skamaka. Also broke the Emerson news last night before the others. Not suggesting it's not true, but I'm suggesting that it's a story that's been rehashed. Why don't I put it that way? It's not the first time we've been linked to him. And like I said, the only reason why I know about him, because I looked at my notes from about 2 years ago in order to find out about his goal scoring and all that sort of stuff. I just don't think it will happen, to be honest. I could be wrong. Eamon, we've also been linked to some point. Nothing happening there at the moment either. We've also been linked to some points. Nothing. Dan, Kit Miners would be superb, but can't see it happening at the price quoted. Big part of Atalanta's team. He absolutely is indeed. Marla, gone completely quiet. Ironclad. Every name we linked to would be £40 to get a shirt print. Learn to dig. Having seen the Uruguayan get into trouble, I have to applaud Moyes for holding Skamaka back. There you go. Now, all of a sudden, Moyes is the Messiah again. Mr. Mace, good evening to you. Stats don't matter. It's all about bringing in players with the right attitude. People got excited about Allaire and Felipe Anderson, both bone idle. No, see, you almost got me there, Mr. Mace. I don't think Allaire was bone idle. I think Allaire was a great. I think he was a very good footballer, and he's proved that by ending up going back to Germany and, replacing someone called Erling Haaland. He's not a shit footballer and he wasn't lazy, and this is the thing I'm worried about with Scamacca. People are going to start looking at Scamacca going, oh, he's Allaire number 2, when they realise that instead of playing just on his own, he's going to need support. The one thing Scamacca does is he does drop deep to pick the ball up, and he may have to start doing that when he plays more regularly. Got to get rid of that. Hang on a minute. Get rid of that. There we go. I'm really pissed off with Nunes going to Wolves, to be honest with you. Let's scroll down. Are you going, Reece? Who's going? Reece, you're meant to be moderating. How far down are we? 10:60, still 20 minutes behind. I'm gonna have to skip down. Let's see. Good evening to you, Christophe Christou. That's a nice Greek name. I saw Payet trending earlier. Would you have him back? No, I wouldn't. And I think it's a load of bollocks, to be really honest with you. Payet back is embarrassing. Good evening to you, Troj. It ain't happening. I don't know where it's come from. Maybe because David Moyes said last week in an interview, I need a Payet-like footballer. All of a sudden, people are going, Payet back at West Ham. It is not going to happen. Trust me. Hang on. Sorry. Payet what? Signed tonight? Fucking hell. Payet's just signed for West Ham. No, he ain't. David M. To see the Benny goal disallowed, then to see Spurs score 2 dodgy goals makes my blood boil. Absolutely agree. Anyone tracking Payet's flight? Ian, we have tasted success and now we are desperate for more. Moyes needs to deliver, otherwise the fan base will turn on him. And for what? If we finish 10th, it won't be a great season. Will we turn on him? I think that would be wrong, to be honest with you. Ironclad, Nunes misread the Wolves contract. It said championship team. Dabs, Matthias Nunes is not joining Wolves. However, Man City are considering. Hang on, someone just wound me up. 1 minute I'm getting really pissed off with it. Now I'm being told it ain't happening. Matthias Nunes is not joining Wolves. However, City are considering playing his £51 million release clause. Good grief. Victor, I think Rice will end up at Man City. They will use Phillips as a part of the deal. Someone else has said that a few times before as well, that they think Phillips will be used as yes, they do. I think they've got about 10 and one of them's coming on. Wacko Cub. If those 2 shots that hit the bar were 2 inches lower, then everyone would be praising Moyes in fine margins. Just luck wasn't with us. Will come good. Absolutely agree. Ironclad. My grandson supports Norwich and says he can't wait to play us and manure in the Championship next season. No birthday presents for him. What's he doing supporting Norwich? What's going on there? Darren, how long do you think it'll take before Scamacca's dad punches Moyes in the face? Jeff, hi still. Do you know of a group called Any Other? I do. West Ham supporters of a certain age. Yes, I do. I've heard of them. I haven't joined them. I should do. I'm old enough. But yes, I do know of them. Yes. Ian, I still not all doom and gloom, but at the end of the day, until we have owners with unlimited funds, it's always going to be tough to crack this up. But I agree with that, and the thing is, though, we're all wishing for owners, billionaires to come. It doesn't always work out that way, does it really? It doesn't. And I know the owners get a lot of stick. I think, when I try and really analyze, maybe I should do a show about the owners only. When I try and analyze the owners at West Ham United, the only thing I think I found wrong is that they opened their big mouths when we were moving from the old stadium to the new one, promising Champions League football, which they should never have done. They should never have promised something that they couldn't keep. And that was the other thing, moving us from our, the bowling. Those are the 2 things that I think is ground on fans. If they just said we need to move because economically it makes sense, I think a lot of fans would have gone, fuck that, but they would have accepted it. But to make all the stupid false promises, I think is the bit that really got fans pissed off. Trodge, we beat Viborg, but lose versus Brighton is what I expect. I expect us to beat Brighton this weekend. The eternal optimist I am. Gary, apparently Scamacca's dad has promised if his son doesn't start next game, he's getting the bat out of the car park at Rush Green. I don't know if you all know the story, but apparently his dad smashed up. Was it in the Roma car park? Smashed up all the cars. And I think it was that his dad or his granddad. And I think his granddad punched someone as well. RP Sport, good evening to you. Do you think we need a left back as a priority? I think we need a left back without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt. John, Estelle left the gas on. He's got the giggle. I have, because we get to the point now where people are just talking funny shit. So, Garino, as Skamaka's old man tried to run to the touchline, you'll just hear, Mamma mia, oh mio Dio. He went, oh. That's a bit racist, Garino. I'm kidding. RP, Ben Johnson was our second best player at the weekend behind Ben Rama. He wasn't the worst. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't be able to tell you who was our second best player. Benny certainly stood out, but Johnson wasn't the worst, without a doubt. Steve, Souček is awful. Can't tackle to save his life. Bringing the Bulldog downs. Got a great tackle in it. Oh, Steve. First off, you start going on about not having any strikers. Is Souček your new pet hate now? Andrew, I still managed to catch you in. Thank you for joining, mate. Good luck to everyone getting home on Thursday night. It ain't going to be good. Trains are on strike. I found a cheap hotel near my office, so we'll only get to the need to get the DLR. Why don't you just sleep in the office and save your money, Andrew? Let's scroll down. How far am I now? I'm nearly catching up. NWO. What about trying players to play in their positions? Don't be daft. That's far too easy to do, mate. Foe, Portuguese player from the Sporting Lisbon, Dildo Brothergate, going to Wolves instead of West Ham. Yeah, big shock. I fucking hope you ain't going there. That is really pissing me off. Trudge, I like the look of the Belgian guy, Van Aken, though. Look, I might be wrong. Maybe, what was that channel? Got it right, etc. I don't know. The only reason why I'm being a bit dismissive of it is because I've been hearing a link to Van Aken for the last 2.5 years. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Let's scroll down. Learn to dig. Remember how it intended for the last geezer being held as the last Messiah? Dan, Nunes to Wolves looks like it's on as they met the price quoted. What a signing. Even Pep's a massive fan. Fuck me. I'm really pissed off by that. I won't lie. Howard, we signed Van Aken and we would have joined the dark side. Let's scroll down. Scarborough. Skamaka is far more mobile than Allaire. Much more aggression too. Just can't see Allaire number 2. Scammy is too good. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. I did like Allaire though. I won't lie. Dan, Pyatt's out of favour at Marseille because he's overweight. He wants back for one last Greg's, not one last dance. Let's scroll down. Dabs. Kral said recently that he was a bit disappointed about not getting any chance to prove himself. He never wanted to make an issue about it, but after training, he would let his emotions out in his car, apparently. Felt sorry for him. Darren, who knows what he would have been like? Something weird there, wasn't there? That we'll never know about. Darren, no way on God's earth, green earth, are our owners going to let Rice run down his contract and leave for free? He's our top asset. No, they won't. They absolutely will. Let him go. Next season, next summer, he will go. I'll be very surprised if we don't sell him. John, wow, Portuguese player going to a team, Portuguese player, 45, but 5 million add-ons. Bloody hell. Oh, I don't know. Should we have gone for him? Is he that good? Tell me, people, is Nunes that good that he's worth 50 million pounds? It's a lot of money, isn't it? But then again, if we were prepared to pay 34 million for Onana, Martin, I genuinely don't think any more players will be signed. I genuinely think we will sign a couple more. Maybe even 3 more. Chris, Pyatt has heard about the pint and pint. Dabs, I figured out Moyes is slow at making transfers because his wife's always moaning about him. Moyes' wife out. Scarborough, Nunes is unreal, but we'd never get him. Well, not now. That's it. I'm down the bottom. 2 hours, 13 minutes. People, as usual, thank you very much for watching. It's been a real pleasure on a Monday night, as usual. These lights are killing me. If I turn them off, I'd be in the dark. But boy, oh boy, it's hot. It's a bit sweaty under these lights. Thank you all for watching. Really appreciated. I will be back on this week. Watch out for the Viborg preview game with a genuine Viborg fan. I'm going to ask him if he's going to wear his what do you call it, hat thing. You know what the Vikings wear. That's a bit racist as well, isn't it? Anyway, thank you very much. If you're new, hit the like button, subscribe button, and bell notification. Thank you all for joining. Thank you all for keeping me on my toes. I'll see you very soon. Wednesday night will be it's Wednesday night now. Will be a preview of the Viborg game, and there'll be a couple of other shows to talk about latest transfer news, etc. Much appreciated. See you all soon. And for those of you who are going to the game on Thursday, I'll see you Thursday. And if I don't see you Thursday, I'll see you Sunday for the Brighton game. Have a good week, and we'll see you soon.